Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome your beautiful faces over to a brand new day of PUBG Esports. My name is Maxman, joined by the one and only, my friend and yours, Imperium, to bring you the action today throughout the full set of games coming your way. Imperium, I'm hyped. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm super excited. This is the first evening of the Collegiate Battlegrounds Association, right? The CBA. It's the first day, the first. It's really exciting to see kind of the starting point for potential players who kind of maybe enter the scene and get that practice, and of course have a bit of fun along the way.
Have a little bit of fun. That is what we're here for, indeed, Imperium, having a little bit of fun along the way in these games. We're going to be having a few games coming out every Monday. Monday in the day for you guys in North America. For us European players, it's going to be pretty late at night, but that's fine. We're ready to go through it. This is going to be our caffeine just pumping through our veins, keeping us waking up throughout the night and bringing you guys the action all along the games. But still, we're going to be having a mix of Miramar action, a mix of also a Wrangle action coming up, which are, easily the two best maps in the game right now. So we're going to be having a lot of action coming your way.
Yeah, and let's be honest. Let's kind of cut it out, get the elephant out in the room out of the way. We don't know really anything about these teams or these players, and that's sometimes a good thing, because when we go into a tournament or an event and we know about the players, we're automatically kind of speculating this, speculating that, whereas here our minds are free and open for the players to kind of show us and prove to us what they can do in this night one.
Because normally in the world of casting, what we do like storytelling, explaining the depth,
True.
the background. mistake on its own, and that's going to be the one player of Norwich taken down. Wibbington could get flushed away, and that will indeed be the case. Kill going over to Midwest.
Nice stuff coming out from Midwest. Rotating cleanly as a unit, taking advantage, and that's where they knew they could be aggressive. Okay, Webbington had done a good job of taking a few shots, but the thing is, he didn't take enough shots that made Midwest think that it was a full squad, so it was just a clean clear under control.
Clean clear indeed. Trying to move into the open is definitely a little bit of an issue you should try and do. And I'm seeing a lot from these teams, some drop locations that are very spread, but I'm seeing also a few clustered off teams. And, surprisingly enough, the clustered off teams are the ones that really come out on top and really stand out in the opposition. So I think that this is something that really shows that over the entirety of this event, I think teams will try and adjust a little bit, learn the drop locations eventually also over time to try and avoid those hot drops, especially in the game of Miramar, where, when you like going to the tier 1 teams, you would not really see those teams die as early as that. But as I said, it's also a learning curve, not only for us, but also for the team. So still great to see them evolve and just learn over time.
110%. The drop spots are, I think, less of a contention for these teams. It's more the rotational paths, right? Because the rotational paths are the most important part, or one of the most important parts of Miramar. Because if you're able to rotate cleanly in that kind of harsh, open terrain as a full squad, avoid any other team, there's a higher chance you're going to last longer as a full squad. You're going to be able to control more of an area inside the circle. And hey, make a difference to your late game standing.
NC State going to try and make their way through already. They're going to get pretty close to one other team. That is going to be actually the side of Southeastern. I cannot read English, apparently, but that's fine.
I thought you were going to say Southern Comfort. That's an alcoholic drink, Max. I know it's
Imperium,
very early in the morning for
you. Don't have to talk about alcohol all the time, Imperium, okay? I know it's your culture, but here we're talking about North America, okay? Leave it alone. Leave that culture behind. We changed region. Calm down, okay?
I'm sorry. I can't let it go, man.
I know, Imperium. You still going every single week to the doctors, right? And just make sure you're followed.
Right. What the hell, man?
Oh my god, here we go. Some more DMR shots on a Mini 14 by Beck. Taking himself in the one knockdown was Winlow. They're going to be contesting against each other for that knockdown. Unfortunately, Beck going to be traded away from a distance. Here we go. Long distance third party wouldn't be unfolding. They'll have to try and rotate away from this one. Go for the res. They got a few dips to play around, but unfortunately, because of that knock, they might get pushed upon pretty easily. So they're just going to be like, nah, getting the hell away from this one. This fight is definitely not worth it.
It's something you really have to consider with Miramar as well, Max, is those third parties when you're out in the open get very tricky, even on phase 1 as the blue zone's closing in, and we'll see phase 2 pop in the next 30 seconds.
Yeah, it's going to be coming up very soon, see where it's going to be going. So really intriguing overall, this game. We got some really interesting potential phase 2, phase 3 circles that could come up. I would really like to see it finish towards Crater Fields as a whole. I think they'll make things pretty interesting for this first game to kick off this tournament. As Prop GG taking a high ground position, a little bit of DMR shots, but of course the Mini 14, the SLRs, those are going to be your metal weapons, at least in the early game shots of Miramar.
Yeah, and what I like from Rochester is that they have that kind of split positioning on that Crater Field area. So it's so important for Crop to take those shots onto the side of University of Cincinnati, down inside that compound, because you do not want to allow them to in any way move out of that compound and take shots over onto Crop. So that's really nicely done. As phase 2 has centralized up, gone down southeast with a lot of terrain by that power grid area, still in control.
I was just about to mention, you mentioned very early on in this game, actually on the start of phase 1, right? The northern side of Picardo, that mountaintop towards Power Grid, will be extremely valuable for information gathering. No one as of yet went for it, but you know what? It's still an opportunity maybe for teams that arrive a little bit late, especially down south. They've got like 2-3 teams down there that could be taking that opportunity at hand. Going to be also seeing the western side, a few teams going to go for their slow rotation. British Columbia is going to be one of those, having to make their way inside. There's going to be other than Mild West. Going to be finding himself 1 kill extra. That's going to be up to 4 so far. And, I'm just getting used a little bit to the UI. It's been 1 year, Imperium, since we casted PUBG PC. And you know what? I'm enjoying it, but I'm a little bit crunky. I'm a little bit rusty. We're getting there. We'll get there.
It also doesn't help that it's a good 3 o'clock in the morning for
also,
you.
You know what? Is that? Yeah. I think that doesn't help. Here we go. Going to be having a push unfolding. It's going to be a pretty aggressive one. Big Penguin TTV. He's going to be taking himself some early shots. They're able to fight back in really good fashion, taking the kill, confirming them. Penguin looking good in this fight, but though, can they confirm it? Can they get the squad wipeout? I think it'll be really intriguing for them to find out, despite them losing 2 of their players, Kalzu and also 1011. So far, this one's going to go a little bit slower as Ginger Jesus waiting and taking his time to re-engage, but the nades will be chucked in his direction in Imperium.
Nice stuff coming out from Ginger Jesus. He's doing what he can to control his area. He's on his own right now. You can hear shots being fired out. As you just see that player on side of the balcony, does try and throw out those shots, but nothing connecting as of right now.
Yeah, trying to go versus Louisiana State. Unfortunately, not going to be able to connect anything. Taking a car rotation.
No way.
At least he has picked up some speed, but will it be enough to make it away? He will actually make it away, and the third party from a distance will be unfolding and just spraying down on Penguin. That is going to be it. Unfortunately, him cannot able to take that spray, but really, the fact he was able to pick up a little bit of speed literally just saved his life.
Yeah, it was a nice little bit of third party from Concordia just to really kind of shut down the side of Louisiana. As we are seeing the Blue Zone now closing in a minute to go. Rochester Institute of Technology are going to have a squad climbing up these hills towards this compound and maybe start a little bit of an engage. Nice positioning coming out from the members of RIT. They do have 2 members now covering beside each other with the other 2 players flanking either side. Nice control being fired out.
Nice headshot coming out from Soda Void. Now that's going to create an opportunity. You got to use this knockdown as just a void point of pressure on this as a team. They're going to be actually getting a kill confirmed. Now you can push on forward. You still got a 4-man squad looking good, looking strong, but they got to try and converge down to something extra. Not only taking the kills, that will also give you a lot of extra points in this game, but also you would take this position, you would take this compound in terms of control on the map. This position is huge because there's a little bit of high ground also, making it even harder for teams around you to potentially third party and just snatch it away from you on the long run.
I was expecting Rochester to push out, to be perfectly honest, a little bit more aggressively, especially because where they are right now inside the circle, as the phase 3 has shifted up, they're still inside, but what they've got to consider is that more teams will be rotating around them, and you can see there's plenty of high ground area to the north, to the south, that they could get third party from if they do not close out that fight onto the members of NCSU.
So it seems like everyone's going to be playing for more, edge of circle kind of meta. No one really going to be going highly aggressive dead center. I'm feeling very confident. It's a first game. Not really too much information about these teams has been, exchanged between these squads. So I think I do understand why teams are not feeling maybe that confident as of yet until they just get more intel and information on these teams. But this fight is really taking a long time, and you mentioned it right, Imperium. A third party could be happening. 2 teams so far just going to be eyeing out, potentially with their scopes, just looking in, seeing exactly if that fight does break out. And if it does, then they can just tumble down the mountain, get the engagement, snatch away this compound, which is in a decent position inside the circle. So really, these 2 teams got to think of how do they want to approach this. Is it worth taking a fight, or should we maybe just leave as a whole and not even finish the engagement?
It is a kind of thing, if you're not going to take the fight fully, you should look to disengage and get onto the higher ground position on the northwestern side of the circle. We did see a member of Midwest get taken out by the full squad of Southwestern. So Southwestern are occupying the western side of the circle just outside Power Grid, and we can see Delta and Gribbs doing what they can to kind of stay together inside this compound. It's in this circle, so it's good for them.
Yeah, unfortunately, Fizzle did get picked up. Might be fizzling away also. Going to be very unfortunate for their team, but hopefully they'll make it back up. Yeah, there you go. I got to do something eventually. You know what? That's fine. There, you're taking up the car. Just pick up a little bit of speed, but it's not going to be enough speed, my dude. And now it's going to be it. Delta on point with those shots. Looking for a second victim. He's just running around in the open, though. Will make it beyond that rock eventually, but here Midwest, despite them losing Fizzle, they got to try and maybe use that knockdown as a way to not push aggressively, but maybe just to reposition, because currently they're on the edge of the circle, so maybe they got to try and also gather that information, make their way next to Power Grid, because so far, once again, no one is dead center, and they could scout that from where they are. They could get that information super easily.
Man, I love the fact that...
Frodo? Oh, here you go, Frodo taking a 1v2, picks up the initial kill. 32 HP, then the team is there to back him up. They will be eventually taking a little bit of damage back. Big Penguin doing some great job early in his compound breach when he was defending it. Unfortunately, they did come into this game as a 2-man team. Imperium, a 2-man team, and they got 3 kills. That is still huge coming out from this team. So let's see if they can try and turn into something extra. Once again, for the Louisiana State, I have a trouble staying in that
Nice.
area. I do not know why. Here it is.
No way.
Penguin to fight the nice initial knockdown. Looking for a second. Can they clutch in a 2v3? Yes, they can. 5 kills going over to the team. They are looking good, but especially Big Penguin is already like just this play on the first game. That's already standing out.
Oh my lord, great play by Big Penguin. I question that revive because it did technically give more time for the opposing team to push on, but hey, credit where it's due. He executed and he used that low ground position to peek up, shoot, get those headshots and close out that clean squad wipe, expertly done, and now they can move in to the circle.
Mobile spray from Rochester, all good. I don't know why I have an issue saying Louisiana. There you go, I said it good this time around.
There
I'm
you
proud
go.
of myself.
Proud
There you
of
go.
you.
Hey, improvement. We're all about, evolving over here. Upgrades, people. Upgrades. Ooh. Power grid, though. Might be a power grid circle in this first game, Imperium. That is definitely going to be intriguing. And we're going to have one team straight away going to try and snatch it up. That is going to be the Purple Boys.
It's Concordia, as far as I know. Concordia going to send 3 members into power grid, keep 1 in the back line, and I don't mind that, to be honest, but if you're going to full send it into the center circle, I definitely think it's better if you do the full squad, and
yeah,
indeed, that's what they're going to do.
Definitely agree on that one. They got to be careful. A lot of teams are trying to contest it away. Car 98 shots coming out from Fear the Fork. Will the Fork be feared? Apparently not just yet, so he'll make it through. But one team is going to get gatekeeped on the western edge, and that can make things a little bit more tricky for them. So intrigued to see overall how this game is going to be unfolding. A lot of teams trying to delay their rotations, which I'm okay to know. They're still in circle, but if the next circle is coming up is going to be a hard shift, that's where things will get a little bit more, let's just call it tricky, Imperium, for the sake of it.
The good thing is that because 2 teams have moved into center circle, there is more space on the edge for teams to kind of play and rotate around.
Here you go, New York City State, going to be taking himself a big fight on themselves. Beck already picked himself 2 kills for his team, looking really strong in this performance.
Nice.
Going to get the high ground position. The smokes will not save you, my friend. And they are just going to mow down the opposing side, taking up the kills one by one, looking for a third. Down to 1 player. Can they get it back? This man is insane. This guy is unstoppable, Imperium. As the western side will be controlled by them side. They do eliminate the entire squad, and now it's easy peasy to make it inside the circle.
North Carolina popping off right now. Southeastern are in the mix. Nice shots coming out from him with the SKS, making it work for their side. As they're in a tricky position, right? Because they're not quite in the center circle. They're not quite in power grid, but they're not on the edge of the circle where they can be safe that there's nobody behind them. So they really have to be controlling on their position as this 3-man team.
Yeah, going to be a little bit tricky for their side. Let's hope they can hold on to it for the British Columbia team. Justin Plain found himself a few shots. Going to be picking up that kill onto FSU. And overall, just still have 10 teams in this game. Now down to 9. A little bit of a caster curse, but that's okay.
Oh,
King Nando's
nice.
got a high ground position. Going to be picking up a good kill for himself. The nade up Pseudo Void is going to come on through also for his squad. But now they've got this little dip, and they do not see that 1 player behind. Fear the Fork with a Car 98 is going to be doing some work. He will find himself 1 knockdown onto Dis, and eventually they got to keep on running. They still got a high ground position, Imperium, which for their team of St. Ambrose could be a huge advantage overall. Take a 1v1, but unfortunately going to be losing it despite having the high ground position, and that will be St. Ambrose out in 9th.
Rochester didn't let up. They kept the pressure on. After they secured those knocks, they knew that they had to convene. They had to put that pressure on. And now as the circle does center up, still around the power grid area, they're close to the edge of the circle. But I gotta ask the question, how many teams are going to full send it into power grid? How many players can power grid hold if all of these remaining 20 players convene inside the buildings of Power City?
I do like the fact that teams are being very respectful so far. The teams that are currently inside Power Grid, they're just holding on to the northern and the southern side. They're not trying to occupy as much room because they know they're going to get breached eventually. So you need that man advantage on one respective side to deal with the opposing side if they do try and breach on one specific area. So I think that here, overall, teams are playing that center circle pretty well. But I think that not enough teams are playing that center circle as a whole. I want to see a lot more teams trying to make them opportunities happen for themselves. But indeed, it will center up once again on Power Grid, Imperium. Like, we're having a super intriguing game one around the corner as a Southeastern going to have a little bit of an engagement coming their way.
Rochester, you need to be careful with just Pseudo Void there on his own. You got to try and stick together. This is phase 5. Want to be up as a full squad as they are looking to convene onto the side of Southeastern.
Pseudo Void Makes his way in. Spots out.
Nice.
Okay, don't know what was already happening there for Chaotic, but Chaotic is going to be taken down nonetheless. SMB is going to be another casualty in this game. Unfortunately, so many teams are dying. That's going to be it for SC. Now we only have 7 teams alive. Imperium, and this one's getting more and more set in stone. Up north is going to be also, well, down south should actually call it. It's going to be Louisiana State. And I still could not say apparently really well, but Big Penguin, this guy has been popping off on the first game today, and he's already going to be on my radar for the remaining part of this tournament. Already 5 kills with the barrel. Waiting for the team to just come around the corner, the New York City. But unfortunately, no one's going to go for the push just yet. Some utility will start to get traded off. Goes for the first initial knockdown, but unfortunately, he will be traded away. Great initial pushdown, and that's the 2 of their players out. Louisiana State are out in 7th. 6 teams now remain almost on the top 5 bar.
North Carolina closing up. Nice rotational play from the side of that hill. It's very tricky to play on the side of a hill because getting those peak angles on point is quite hard to pull off. But credit where it's due to North Carolina. But they are still outside the circle. They have to move in. I'm looking at how well Rochester can play this because they're still up as a full squad. Gribbs and Delta, they are so separated, still as a 2-man team. That is risky, but it's bold, and I love it.
Yeah, I'm just loving seeing some DMR shots still coming on through into the late game. I think that's what makes Miramar at this stage, and I'm just really happy and enjoying what is happening on our screen. The circle comes up once again, Imperium, and where does it go? It goes on Power Grid once again.
It is a bit more north than maybe some of the teams expected, but either way, as you said, Power Grid is still in play, and I'm really curious as to what the side of, Team 12, Ontario College Gate, and the side of Florizano are going to do, because the side of Ontario, they only have 2 players up, and Fear the Fork, he's kind of the last player standing as he is trying to make his way into the circle. He's on foot, but he can look to peek up those hills and maybe get that information as the footsteps are heard.
Yeah, it seemed like really holding onto the edge was really the viable option up north for the side of Concordia, and they're going to be rewarded with that one. Was just putting pressure by teams potentially rotated in circle too early, and also going to be seeing ourselves NC State out in 6th. Now finally down to top 5 position, but I'm scared for what is happening so far in this game. He does not matter. He's been solo since earlier, but unfortunately solo he will be no more. He's going to join his teammates back into the lobby, and he'll get eliminated with his team in 5th. 4 teams still in this game, and as again, an esports team dead center looking damn good in this game. They just got to hold on strong, not moving an inch whatsoever. They are going to be the circle magnets on this first game.
But here's the thing. Are they allowing the other teams, specifically, I'm looking at Rochester, to gain too much control inside the circle, right? Yeah, they have a full squad, but they should be using that full squad to gather a little bit of information. Hell, send a scout out. You can kind of afford to lose a player. I know it's kind of phase 6, but
kind of evil.
for the sacrifice of grabbing information that you're going to be able to use, I think that would be more worthwhile. Whereas when you look at the spread that's coming out from the 3-man team of Rochester, they're really making that work, sending Hershey up the northern side of this phase.
Talking about, sacrifice, getting really dark. I didn't know PUBG could get this dark, but thank you very much, Imperium. You proved me that the impossible is indeed possible. Going to be having, once again, a few teams trying to make their way around. But there's so many, Nick and crannies, just little hilltops behind which can actually hide without getting peeked upon too heavily, really, by the side of Concordia. So still, there's a lot of opportunities at hand. He spots it out with the SLR. They're going to be having a good trigger control. Not going to go for the shots, because if he does, that means the information will be given over to Concordia, and then all potentially will be lost to find a decent, more comfortable position in Circle. Circle's about to center up once again. Is it going to go back in Power Grid? I mean, I hope so, because this first game is pretty insane already, Imperium.
I love how Gribbs and Delta have been playing this game as a 2-man team. Love how they've been rotating, utilizing the edge of the Power Grid area to peek up, get information, and then, of course, use that to dictate how they rotate around. But their next challenge, Max, is the fact that they have to move in to the circle from the south, use that eastern ridge to possibly take a fight onto the members of Ontario, and then maybe gain a bit more control. But shots are being fired up by this side of Concordia as they do what they can to push back the 2-man team.
Here we go, some SLR in action once again on the later stage as they did move away from Power Grid. All the fights are going to be breaking loose. Going to be still having a few squads trying to remain on the edge of the circle, trying to really relieve as much pressure as possible. But still, once again, Concordia not having to move an inch. They still got the best building in this game, still available at hand. They just take the shots, they just put the pressure and just stay put. What's coming out? Midwest. Looking for the angles on Concordia, not able to fight them just yet, but at the end of the day, they're just not being too careful with what's happening up northern side. Midwest going to be taking himself 10 kills on a killing spree indeed. And this is going to be still a really good pop-off performance to kick off the day. Rochester Institute of Technology up in the northern edge, going for the split, which I think is great. They got center circle control, they got edge of the circle control up in the northern side. Like, I think here they're just taking map pressure to make sure no one is going to contest their location in circle. As 5 kills going to be going over to Pseudo Void, and that's going to be it for Midwest out in 4th. Concordia waiting. Mini 14 shots coming on through. Going to be on the RTX team. Unfortunately, nothing really able to get confirmed just yet, but unfortunately, seemed like the split is going to be actually not going their way just yet, as they're going to be losing one of their players. Rochester Institute of Technology kind of struggling with that split now, losing one of their players. The res will not come on through. But in Pyramid here, this game has actually gone way slower right now.
Slow down a little bit. We're down to the last 2 teams. It's a 4v3. Credit to Concordia. They stayed inside that building, but they still jumped out of that building somewhat with a bit of a bang, getting a kill onto the side of Rochester, which does take away some of Rochester's control. They also got a knock on the Pseudo Void, which is getting revived up. But again, that's giving more space for the side of Concordia to now push into the circle.
He's going to be pushing away. Rochester might lose a play, picks up enough speed though, and it will go far away into the horizon, away from the grasp of the opposing squad. This game is already getting pretty intriguing. Concordia, will it be Concordia? Will it be Rochester? Oh my god, I have no idea who's going to be taking this one so far. It's such an even game. They're going to be pushing down here, which make them very easy picking for the side of Rochester. A few SLR shots will be exchanged. Though, nice angle going to be taken away by Sneak Attack. Going with a barrel, picks up 1 kill, goes instantly for the flush. Very nice Imperium, as you just mentioned. Now it's going to be down to 1 play on their side. Pseudo Void, despite getting knocked away, can still gather a lot of valuable information. Herkshi has to take that fight solo. Going to be switching on over to the Mini 14. Picks up 1 potentially, and he does get it. So that is going to be it. And the winner chicken dinner will be over to the side of Concordia for game number 1.
It was really well played by the side of Rochester all throughout that game, right? They were up as a full squad for the majority. They held onto that western side, quite a controlling area, moved in. They were aggressive when they needed to be, and I really liked their position. But, you know, it was that maybe kind of 2 split that kind of paid the price for them. And I said, I questioned Concordia's holding on to that power grid building, but when they disengaged away from that building, they felt prepared to take that fight against Rochester, right? They instantly got that kill onto the Rochester player that was inside the center circle. Then when they did get a knockdown onto Pseudo in that back line, the revive time that it took allowed Concordia to move aggressively, swipe the player on the western side, pushing on Pseudo, and to the point where the last player of Rochester was actually outside the circle. That's how aggressive Concordia played the final 2 minutes of that game. It was really well executed.
I think it's not only that, it's also like the timing, right? Like they just knew that team's going to be pushing dead centers, very flat terrain at the end of the day. So I think it was still really intriguing how they did try and pull that one through. And at the end, it was just like, okay, well, the team's fought. So many teams died. There's only 1 team remaining. Now we're going to go for the aggressive push. It is a 4v3. We're going to take control. They did that. They took the win. Concordia, like, in my opinion, played that very by the book in terms of timing. And it was just hella clean.
And here's how good it was. They had 0 kills up until that point. Did you know that? They had 0 kills in that game. Their final 4 kills were on Rochester. So in theory, like, they needed the kills because it's only 10 points for a win. Yeah, it's not bad, but you kind of really want to pick up 4 or 5 as many kills as you can with that chicken dinner. And then for the side of Rochester, hey, look, they might not have won, but they got 9 kills in second place. So in my opinion, yeah, they didn't close out the win. They did kind of miss that beat, but for the job they did up until that point, that was successful and a really good start for their side.
I've been really also surprised in this game by Penguin. Not gonna lie, not too sure exactly of the team. I'm trying to remember all the team names one by one, but Penguin is the player that, in my opinion, stood out already in my eyes. He was getting breached at one point. He defending that one like just so damn well at the end of the day, and then just taking fights in the open, being extremely precise on his shots. He did get overwhelmed in like somewhat of a 2v2 at one point, and he did take the fight, being a little bit too far forward. So it was a 1v2 in some sense. But at the end of the day, Penguin in that game was also doing really good, despite not being able to take this first chicken dinner. You mentioned it right. Kills are extremely important and viable to take these games, and kills are points and points are prizes. I would always like to say Imperium in the world of PUBG. So I think overall here, teams that did put a big emphasis and focus point on getting kills on the long run might be the more consistent teams.
Yeah, and that's something we've always talked about in any event that we've casted, right? Consistency is so important because the bottom 8 teams, right, 16th to 9th, they get no placement points. So unless they get kill points, unless they're somewhat aggressive at the start, so to speak, they're kind of going, so to speak, home empty-handed from that game. So, if you can grab 5-6 points every single game and maybe have that big boost of a chicken dinner, that's really going to spell greatness for your side. Of course, if you do have those 2-3 games, so to speak, where you're getting 0-1 points, you will especially need that big pop-off game to boost you up in the standings. But there's a long way to go. There's another 3 games today. There's a number of weeks of games ahead. So there is a long time, in my opinion, for these teams to learn about each other. And as I said at the start of the game, kind of getting familiar with each other's rotational paths and kind of favored positions will be something we'll see as the games go on.
Yeah, exactly. We did have a few little hot drops happening, and I think that over time teams are going to be doing their homework, literally, because it is a collegiate like kind of tournament also, so they got to put down side of their true homework. But like overall, I think that those hot drops are going to get ironed out eventually because they're going to learn how teams play, learn how teams rotate, how they deal with potential fights when they get breached or when they're breaching themselves. So I think that overall, now, I said it earlier, this is a time for potentially these teams and players as a whole to make themselves a legacy. Like, potentially a lot of these players, they're not known, on the battlegrounds. They're not known too heavily. They're just doing this tournament potentially for fun, represent also their university as a whole. So really good stuff on them.
Exactly.
But at the end of the day, the teams and the players that are playing here might be the future pros of tomorrow. Like, literally, this is how far it can go.
Yeah, exactly. That's something that we've always got to look out for. And of course, something else that we do have to look out for, Max, is something that we're kind of playing for, representing, is the Play for Pink cause. Cancer awareness. You can head on over to playforpink.org to check out what they do, more effectively. And if you do want to hit up a donation for that cause, that'd be always greatly appreciated.
Yeah, I already appreciate that, guys. If you do want to support a good cause at the end of the day and still watch some good old, PUBG Esports, because pretty fun. You got the PCS, you got the collegiate, you got everything coming together. So you know what? If you are a PUBG Esports fan, you're definitely going to be having your full for the time being, as all of the action is definitely coming your way. But now we saw ourselves our first Miramar game. Game number 2, as being the rule said, we're going to be having a game of Erangel, which is the superior map, officially is a straight up fact. And if you don't think so, your opinion is wrong. But yeah, Erangel's going to be on the menu very soon. I mean, Imperium. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. You're dead right.
Thank you very much.
It's the OG. It beats, in my opinion, Erangel is the perfect battle royale map. Changing my mind.
There you go. I'm also not wrong about the fact that we're going to be going for a very short break before we actually do hit the battleground of Erangel. So with that said, myself and Imperium will see you guys in just a few short minutes for game numero 2. Thank you so much for waiting during that very short interlude between game one and game two. Game two just about to go back on over to Erangel. But welcome back once
Hell
again,
yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, over to the Collegiate Battlegrounds Association. My name is Maxman. This hasn't changed since earlier, and his name is still Imperium for our second game. And Imperium, what a
boy.
great first game that was. Won by Concordia. Sure, not too many kills to show for it, but at the end, they played that power grid position to a T, and they took the very first game of the day.
Hell yeah. But that was then. This is now. And we're heading into the hollow grounds of Erangel, right? We're heading. Iceman, he's much further away from Crop and Pseudo. So
Ooh,
like to see him maybe join back up with the rest of his team, or at least use his angle to get information, but not really take those shots.
Seemed like our audio is back on. Sorry for that little technical hiccup on our end, but that's fine. We are back in action, and you can actually hear our sexy voices, myself and Imperium. We're pretty happy about that. You know what? That's cool. But back into the game, Imperium.
Wow.
Yeah, as you said, game number 2 going to be coming up after the first game won by Concordia. Now going to be having a few nice SLR shots coming out in the early stage, which always makes me feel good because the SLR is one of my fav weapons, and I always love to see it well used. Way better than I can use it myself, which makes me sad.
I'm glad you're sad. I like seeing
I
you
guide
sad.
others to a treasure I cannot possess.
Now, I like the fact that Florizona are kind of swiftly getting the hell out of there, just going, look, we don't want to take the fight early on. It's not worth it because we're outside the circle, and the longer we leave it to rotate, the harder it's going to be. Then talking about that circle, it has complemented the playing path, so you are seeing way more teams already converge inside the circle. So I'm not expecting too many early game fights, early game kind of craziness. This is going to be a bit of a passive one.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty safe one. Would you go over to Milta? Of course, Milta, no hard job's going to be happening over here whatsoever. Well, actually, no, wait a second. Oh, it's just not. Oh my god, I'm so confused with the textures, man. Oh my god, this is so intriguing. I love this.
You'll get there.
I was like, wait a second. No, wait a second. There's no water.
Could be
Where's
worse.
the water? Where's the water?
Could be worse. You could
Could I call Picardo to be on again?
Yeah. You could call Picardo Podvoto, or the other way around. But we won't speak about that.
Yeah, we won't. We'll just move on. It's fine. It is once again. It's almost 4 a.m. for us, guys. So don't judge us too heavily, please. Be nice to us. As a car is going to be picked up in the center, I'm seeing, I believe, a 3 or 4 man car rotation, which in a compound like Yasnai can always have a little bit of a few neighbors you're not really expecting, but they will get away, unscathed. They'll make it back to another location down south of Yasnaya, and potentially even make it through the fields to a better location, center circle.
Again, a little bit similar to what we saw from Florizona. Just Central Florida just going, look, we don't kind of want this fight. It's not really worth it. Let's just get the hell out of there kind of thing. And just one thing about Central Florida is that they do have a female player, Span Cargo, the only female player in the Collegiate Battleground Association. And I think that's, of course, something that isn't, is nothing but a good thing to highlight, is that when you do have those female players competing at the top, it's absolutely awesome. We want to see more of it.
Yeah, we say we got to support the boys. We got to support the girls too. You go into this one. There's a crate. Drops on
Exactly.
down. It's got an orm. And you know what? We had some small boy action earlier. We had some SLRs. We had some mini 40s. Now we're getting into big boy territory with this one. And can't see who's going to be using that one and potentially finding some juicy headshots. If someone gets it, getting pretty happy about that one. Every headshot, I'm calling it right now, every headshot with the orm that comes out, I'm doing a €5 donation over to the Association of Play for Pink. And if you can do the same, by the way, by heading on over to
I will match it.
playforpink.org. There you go. Every headshot with the orm, we're going for it.
Well,
Raise the
no,
stakes.
every knock.
Every knock.
Let's just go for every knock with the
Okay,
orm.
every knock. You know what? Yeah, fair
every
enough.
knock.
Every knockdown is going to be an extra $5 in the bank. It's Crimson going to push on up. No one going to really heavily potato heal for scouting early on, which I think was this kind of circle. No, even if it's just a temporary stop, I would like to see teams maybe use that location to their advantage. As Southeastern, BMZBB. A lot of B's in that name. Going to be looking for that fight.
Yeah,
Yes.
now we do see two-man team pushing it forward. But of course, you got to make sure that Chaotic and BMZBB do join up
Beams.
relatively quickly enough. They are trying to take advantage of that initial knockdown onto the side of Norwich University as grenades are being thrown out by Spirit Sanic. Not really connecting as of just yet. And, hey, I said this is going to be a passive start to game, but this is a little bit more aggressive than I thought, but I like it.
Yeah, it is beams, by the way. My Mr. Producer Man, chunks in my headset just told us. So it makes me think of beans, and now I'm hungry once again. So what the hell, man? But overall, there's going to be a pretty aggressive push. They did use those knocks as a way to get closer to this compound. So now they breached it, and now they just got to find the kills one by one. Hake trying his best to defend it. Unfortunately, not able to find the shots, and he'll get fall back instantly. Beams. Going to go for the flush. He is already initiating this fight in really strong fashion for Southeastern, but unfortunately for them, look, they jump from the balcony side, and they're going to be peeking around, and I think he saw it, gets the information, and he knows he's 10,000 IQ, and he picks it up. Beams. He's doing so much work for his team into this breach, and now they're down to 2 players on the opposing side. How can they defend this one? They're taking it slow, which I like it. They're not going to get overzealous. They're not going to get overconfident, but grenades could make this fight for Southeastern a lot easier, Imperium.
Yeah, but what I don't get is why Pluie isn't joining up with the rest of his squad. Why they still have to make that man advantage count? As Belsey does chuck out a grenade, gonna try and utilize that. He has not been spotted. No way, no way, no way. He has not been spotted.
I'm potentially use the shadows through the smokes. He spots the shadows, and now he's going to go for the spray. But unfortunately, a little bit too high, my dude. They're not going to be on the roof. They are not Spider-Man, unfortunately. Southeastern, they're going to be taking the fight once again for themselves. Beams was taken away from this game, but at least they do take themselves the compound. You know what? 4 kills for 1 loss on Beams is good, but no more Beams. I'm a sad boy.
Oh, man.
He's gone too soon.
It was a good life he led.
Yeah. Imagine watching, Cars 3, and then you just spill the beans in the theater.
Can we have a beans in the chat, boys and girls?
I think we're doing too many beans. No. He got baked. That's all we can say, really. With that said,
oh my god!
There you go. Moving on by to what is happening. Midwest, also in a pretty decent spot. High ground position, surrounded by roads. Really good for scouting in the early stages. I like it, but it's more of a temporary stop because teams in mid-rotation could get a little bit of an upper hand on you if they do see you and spot you around the corner.
I love the 2-2 split that's coming out from Central Florida. They're creating such a great control in the middle of this phase 1, right? You can see it on your screens right now, and it's a little bit similar for this side of Concordia, but they do still have Cole, Pepper, and okay, that's a bit of a pain. That's a bit of a pain in the ass, right? Because that takes way more teams outside the circle. It does create a much more clustered area on the eastern side of the circle. And hey, I don't think the teams won't be able to deal with it, but it does take a lot of core compounds out of play.
Yeah, it's going to be taking quite a few away. Potato Hill would be a pretty good option, I think, for a lot of these teams back on over to Concordia. Find himself a few little shops potentially for themselves. This is Central Florida. That's always been a place I wanted to go visit, so one day that will happen, I hope. I'll go visit the boys. But the Kar 98 shots will be not able to connect as of yet. But look at that. In Rozok, you got one team just going to be able to normally easily rotate because the western side Imperium of the circle is completely free real estate for teams to take for themselves.
And that's what I loved about the
Oh.
2-2 split that was coming out of Central Florida, is because now they've joined back up as a full squad inside the circle.
Bound to happen eventually. Oh, no, he's not going to get knocked
No
away.
way.
No way. Oh, my God. Pepper will not find the knockdown with that SLR. Going to go back towards prison.
You know what, Max?
But that is surprising to me. Jeez.
He might be a little bit salty about that one.
No, I think we're doing too many food puns.
No! Come on, salt and pepper, you gotta give me that one.
Okay, you know what? Fair enough, Imperium. I'll give you that one.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Hey, Pepper, damn. This is a hijack. Give us that car right now. We're far from the circle. We need it.
Yeah, they are. They're on the far eastern side by Milta Power. Their rotation shouldn't be too hard because they'll be able to wrap around on the southeastern side. But the thing is, do they have that information? You have that kind of big mountain logging cabin train in front of them. They're not getting any information on the teams in the prison area, any of the teams on the northeast side of the circle. But based on that plane path, in theory, and especially if they've done a little bit of research on some of the drop spots, they should be able to calculatively rotate on the southeastern side through Milta and come in maybe on one of the compounds on the coastal side of this phase 2.
Yeah, coastal side could be a viable option as long as they're quick on that rotation and don't overstay their welcome on that coastline on the beaches area, because then that's where things could get a little bit of an underlying issue. Over to the east, a few teams are slowly going to be thinking on making their way inside the circle because indeed the blue zone is going to be wrapping around these teams. And that is a really nice position where you really want to try and stand in. So they're going to try and make their way through. A few rows actually going to be potentially cutting off a few of these teams. So it could get an underlying issue overall in this game if you do delay that rotation even more, because then you're going to get pressured by teams on the upper ground position when you have to cross over the road, and you're also getting pressured by the blue right behind you. So I think the here teams should put a lot more of a bigger emphasis going pretty central in the circle really early on, because otherwise it could get a little bit troublesome like we did see happen on that Miramar game.
And you mentioned about Potato Hill in phase 1, that it really was an area that a team would kind of hold on to. You were dead right, but phase 2, 100%, because it's pretty much towards the center part of the circle. And we did see the side of University of Cincinnati converge up there as a full squad. And what I like about their position is they didn't overspread that area. Kept in one place.
Oh, damn, that's a big boy push going to be happening for Ontario. Ontario going their way downhill. They pick up all the frags, but from a distance, there's going to be another team which is going to be Central Florida, just going to try and get involved in that fight. St. Ambrose will get eliminated actually away in 15th position. 14 teams will remain in this lobby. During that time, got one team dead center. I cannot find the team name exactly, if I'm not mistaken.
It is University of Cincinnati. That's what I talked about with their position on Potato Hill. It's even more important that they stick together as a full squad. We know how hard it is to hold on to Potato Hill as a train. It's vast. It's got multiple high ground and low grounds, right? But if you're together as a full squad, maybe send one player out to do a bit of scouting. I do believe that is going to allow you as a team to control that area a little bit more, because you don't want to be too separated on Potato Hill.
Yeah, you want to try and remain a little bit more as a team, because it is a really wide area. I always call it, like, people call it Potato Hill. I call it like Potato Plateau. It's just such a wide area. It's just really hard to defend as a full squad. As going to be seeing a 3-man car rotation coming on through. Rebels will be able to cancel that one out for the Midwest team. He's going to go for a sexy double with that mini 14. Now he's looking good, but he's again third party from a distance. He's got to lay low, and that will allow one of the players coming out on the opposing side to make it away for Alabama's University.
Yeah, you got to be careful a little bit. Third party coming out from the side of UC Berkeley. That's going to hurt the push from the side of Midwest.
Oh, there you go. The shot's coming out. Big Penguin popping into the kill feed once again. I mean, this guy is unstoppable, and we saw it in the 2 last games. Well, in the last game and this game now.
Alabama, baby.
And he is just looking insane.
Now we're going to see a couple of teams now in the eastern side converge together. Either side of the road, you have the high ground, you have that low ground that's going to be separating them for now. We do see the side of MC taking a couple of shots and losing a player along the way. A bit of a feels bad man indeed for Midwest.
A little bit of feels bad, man, overall. But Potato Hill, this is going to be the point of all contestants. Cincinnati looking good, but will teams try and contest eventually? I think we're going to have something similar to what happened on game 1 on Miramar. One team going center, and all the rest of the teams playing edge of circle, which is not a surprise whatsoever going into this one. It's going to have a little bit of a backstab happening for Central Florida.
I like it.
Utility will be traded away, but they're not able to find that knock just yet. They're going to get into a car, which is a risky move. You got to pick up some speed to make it away. They will do so, rotating right behind that rock, so they're going to get that speed. They will make it far away in the distance, while leaving a few of their players actually potentially behind.
Yeah, and the good thing is that on that position, they were not threatened by a third party coming out from the side of Southeastern. Plus, Southeastern are down to 2 players, so they're not going to want to push too aggressively. But talking about aggressively, you see Berkeley seem to be pushing aggressively for the Southeastern, are taking that fight against Florida. First knockdown from Pluie.
Yeah, Pluie and Chaotic going to have to go for the push. But Chaotic's going to be down below, taking that one as a slow pace. They find himself on knockdown. I want them to converge onto that knockdown, right? This is going to be potentially their best opportunity to take this fight, despite being overwhelmed. Chaotic finds the juicy headshot. Nicely done. Onto big butt, apparently. Going for the final initial kill, potentially. This could be the end of the fight. This could be it. This could be Central Florida out of the game in 12th if they do not win this fight. Spancargo taking it, and unfortunately, she will be out. Central Florida will get also taken out in 12th. 11 teams still remain in this game, with Chaotic already up to 5 kills.
So that was really well played on that low ground coming out from this side of Southeastern, because they knew that they had to use those dip and peek and shoot shots coming through, and they played that expertly. Nice mix of smokes to cover the areas around them, and getting those headshots off made a huge difference.
Did have a really big underlying impact on that fight. I do like it, but Midwest back into the kill feed once again. Well, not really for the good reasons, because Colsey and Delta both got taken away. Finds a great angle. Unfortunately, down to 51 HP. He's going to have to go for that first aid. But that's going to give a lot of time for the players and the teams around him to push on that location. And they know he's definitely not really good position. Mitchie boy is going to go down, boy. Picked away. Look at that. UC coming from a shot on distance. And yeah, third party. It's been happening on Miramar. It's been happening on Erangel. Because I've got to say the main issue here is that these fights take too long to close off. And that just allows teams to just hear the noise, take a high ground position, third party takes the kills. That's what's been happening this entire time so far, which is still going to be a little bit of the issues for the teams that do decide to initiate those fights and play more aggressive.
And it's great for Cincinnati because they kind of know that now's the time that's okay for them to maybe go for that 2-2 split. Not too far apart and not too far down Potato Hill, but enough where they're able to control the terrain around them, get those shots off, maybe suppress the teams closer to the edge of the circle so they themselves, Cincinnati, can be more prepared for any team that does breach further up more aggressively. You instantly see Blockhead responding straight away, getting a knockdown on the kid.
Here we go, some more SLR. I'm a happy boy. The smokes, really good line of sights on those smokes, really denying all that visibility away from Cincinnati. But Cincinnati, you mentioned it, right, going downhill, which I think is good overall. I do like that idea. But by doing so, also with having a great point of interest to defend and attack from, I think that teams could potentially try and snatch away that high ground position and then actually reverse this team up against this team. So I think overall it's a high risk, high reward kind of position. So you're hoping for no teams to take that position you had earlier away from your grasp. Blockhead not going to be able to find anything just yet, but once again, Pluie is popping into the kill feed for the good reason.
But the good thing for Cincinnati is that so many other teams are fighting against each other on the edges of the circle, especially the southern side, that's giving them a little bit more time to take that fight against Southeastern.
They're going to be full sending it. Despite not having any, big knocks and taking maybe a little bit too long to go for the push onto Dude, despite him taking a lot of damage, they are just full sending it one by one. I am not a huge fan of this play. But Blockhead is going to go for it. Going to try and go for the initial spray with the M4.
Nice.
Finds that one. The second knockdown will come on through because of Eric Brisket's grenade. Double knock. They're going to go for the third, but unfortunately going to be so far away from actually taking that third knockdown. But Fago Oleg is going to be going for that great distance shot, and that's going to be it. Cincinnati picking up the 4-man squad wipe. And that's going to be 4 points going in their back pocket.
Cincinnati doing what they do, grabbing those kills, using that smoke information that was protecting Southeastern. But you know what they say about smokes? When you see smokes, you see grenades. And grenades are flying out. You saw that push that was coming out from Brisket. It created that distraction. Sorry, not Brisket. Blockhead. It created that distraction. Brisket with the grenade, and that was worth Blockhead losing his life for Cincinnati. They do still stay firm inside this phase 5.
It just came down to like smokes. I can't be bothered to have to peek the
Just
information. Here you go.
teamwork.
Take a grenade or two. You'll be fine with my grenades. And that was a great double knockdown coming out from Brisket at the end. But now the circle still Potato Hill Circle Imperium. We had a Power Grid circle on game 1 on Miramar. Now we have a Potato Hill. Like, we're being delivered such good circles rotation onto this one. And some teams definitely are delivering, like Cincinnati. And a few teams potentially trying to snatch it away. And you can see, especially on the western side, you're going to have yourself good old Rochester taking that position potentially for themselves, as well as inside the crates. Just a med kit. But that could still be good if someone wants to pick it up for themselves and go full health.
Oh, my lord. The last player of Concordia with a Groza, center of the circle. But the thing is, can that Groza act like a full squad, right? Can that Groza be 3 players and 3 teammates for Moroz? We'll have to wait and see. He's still inside the circle, so he doesn't have to move for now.
Louisiana State are out. Edge. Trying to take the edge on this fight versus Pluie, but unfortunately Pluie is going to be finding himself a nice little hiding spot in that shack. But unfortunately for Pluie, unfortunately for him, his shack is going to be in the blue in a matter of seconds. He's got to start pushing on forward, but Brisket can be found away. Despite having the arm in hand, he did not have the chance to use it. Edge is going to be also taken away. Fagaholic be less stranded as a one-man team. He's going to be spotted away. And unfortunately, this is why I mentioned Imperium, right? You're going downhill. You're going to be contested. And that is going to be it. Cincinnati are out in 9th. 8 teams still in this lobby. And that was a risk that I was mentioning earlier. And the fact that they did stay there for too long without merely moving and taking those fights really earlier attracted a lot of unwanted attention towards their location. But now over to Rochester, trying to slowly make their way over to the western side of Potato Hill. Going to be contested by New York City. Nays will get chucked away. The utility will be chucked away. The smokes are coming on through in really good fashion, denying all that visibility from both sides. But really, I would say here, maybe delay that fight, go for Potato Hill, then take the fight from up above, which is what Rochester is trying to do.
Circle centered up quite nicely on the top of Potato Hill area. North Carolina are looking to rotate more on the northwestern side and maybe just find those angles on this side of Rochester. Beck is doing a great job with that M4. Got hollow in his hands. The prone players are going to come out to peek and shoot positions, but that's Pseudo Void having to back out.
That's what we call instant regret. Push too far, took a few shots, runs away. Regimes in for the spray on that barrel, unfortunately. The rest of his team is going to be the one finding it, especially Winlow, really well executed.
Wow.
And that's going to be the state of New York taking himself that one. GG, well played to them. Keep on pushing up, but another team is going to be just lingering in the distance, and that's going to be Florizona State. They are just moving back. They do not want to take that far on the western side. They are aiming for the long game Imperium, and they're going to move over to the eastern side, which, is that too passive?
Oh my god.
I'll let you think about that one. As chaotic.
Southeastern. Ooh. 12 kills. 12 kills for Southeastern. 12 kills, max.
This is training.
12 kills.
They're getting fed. Southeastern, looking for the angle, just peeking his way up. No information whatsoever on the receiving end of those shots. They're going to be moving downhill just a tad, which I think is a little bit, maybe not the best course of action going downhill there. You're making it a little bit harder for you on the long run. At the end of the day, Pluie coming around. He's got Chaotic right behind him also. And here you go. Finds the shots, go for it, but does not trade it away despite having that surprise factor. Huge surprise for me, at least. Chaotic, still, he's got 6 kills. If he dies now, still, they can prove and say that they had a great first performance here. And he will get confirmed away. Southeastern will be out in 7th. But still, what a game from the Southeastern team.
Yeah, great kill game coming out from them. All the same. Florizona looking to take advantage of the high ground. Not taking those shots just yet. And I like that. That's very great control because they want to make sure those shots count. And Mixer does get a headshot, but that's not going to result in a knockdown just yet.
Yeah, that looks like a tier 3 helmet, to be completely honest. The SKS is not going to do too much against that. The shots are still getting exchanged so far, but now we've seen teams actually just fleeing away from the center circle like the play because they don't want to get contested from multiple locations at the same time. They don't want to happen to them what happened to the side of Cincinnati earlier in this game when they did go downhill.
Fear
to fork. Really big surprise player also getting into that first game of Miramar. He's going to be actually pushing downhill. is extremely coming out to me as a potentially a weird
Oh,
play. But Beck, here we go, coming back into play, take himself one headshot onto Kresge, and the circle's going to center up perfectly Imperium onto Potato Heal. That is an Imperium circle if I've ever seen one.
hell yeah, baby. Baked like a good potato. Nicely inside this end game. Gotta make sure it's not overcooked though, Max.
Oh my god, they're taking a shot through. The smoke just randomly through. How are they getting this one? Remove hacks, my friend. What the hell? Beck, this guy from Miramar, is still looking consistent over the entirety of his games. British Columbia, though, they have been in this position for minutes and minutes on end without moving an inch.
Oh, yeah.
But now they're in a position where the circle's moving against them. Then you got a few seconds, 10 seconds exactly before the circle's going against them. Not only should they take this fight towards New York City State, but also they got to move up here versus all the teams inside circle. And now the smoke's actually dissipating, make himself easy pickings for this team. And Beck is just capitalizing on this opportunity. He's already got so many kills going their way. They're looking for way, way more Imperium, but currently in circle. I'd like the fact also that New York City State, right, they got one player, which is Regimess, inside the circle just to, once they take that fight down south, they can just send the entire team back in circle itself. It's great insurance. I love that play.
Great insurance policy indeed. So we are going to see on the eastern side, Fear the 4 class player standing going up against Gribbs. It's going to be a clean 1v1. We'll have to see how that does play out. But NC State regimes taking those shots off. Midwest are eliminated. We're down to the final 4 teams.
Regimess full sending it, going to switch away from that DMR now over to his main weapons. Now to the big boy ARs. Back over to the Mini 14, trying to find those little knockdowns if you can. Grenades will make things so much easier. I mean, actually just got to stand his ground, right? Like, they're going to be in the blue in just a few seconds. They're going to have to push up. But now, unfortunately for them, Concordia, they took the first chicken dinner today already. And now they're potentially looking for a second. As they hear the shots, they're going to be third-partying from a distance. Regimess find himself one headshot. Greatly done. But unfortunately, how long can you survive it? And he's going to go for the push downhill. And he is looking greedy, goes for the spray with the barrel, picks it up. That is going to be it for the opposing side.
But here's the thing.
Regimess gets peeked away, and there you go. The information was granted over. Where's the Groza? Concordia making it happen, going for a second kill. Potentially up there. Are we going to have the first back-to-back chicken dinner on the first game? No, going to go for the spray in the open. And he finds it back-to-back chicken dinner for Concordia. These guys are already seeming unstoppable in just the 2 first games of this tournament.
The Groza paid off. Beautifully done by Morons. He stayed inside that building atop Potato Hill for a good 10 to 15 minutes. He was the last hope for his side. And the disengagement from that building, the timing of that was going to be so important. And it had to be a bit of a proactive disengagement, right? And I think he was reading the kill feed very effectively. And he didn't have necessarily core information of where players were, but you're going to hear those shots coming from a certain direction, and he knew that he had to focus on one team at a time, and it was a great backstab kind of third party in the end, and then closing out the shot. It was risky with the Molotov, but he was able to prone down behind a rock and then use that low ground to get the final blow with that scoped in Groza. Nicely done by Concordia.
Yeah, overall Concordia doing some really good stuff. I mean, 2 games and already a back-to-back chicken dinner. Like, I'm out in a vibe of this team that's like, they are looking good.
Maybe that's why they're called Concordias, because they're like Concords and they just full speed. Even though the Concorde isn't active anymore, but I just wanted to make that terrible joke.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Imperium. Really appreciate that. But there you go. That is going to be it for our second game on Erangel. I mean, our first Erangel game has delivered. Our first Miramar game delivered, at least in terms of circles. And the game has been good. Concordia also delivered. Like, so many things have been delivered to us into these games on a silver platter. And I'm enjoying every single second of it. And we're only down 50% of the action coming out today. We've got another Miramar. We've got another Erangel. You know what I'm going to tell you guys? If you want to check it out, we're going to go for a very short break. So stick around, because game number 3 on Miramar is going to be on your menu in just a few short minutes. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome your faces back. Thanks so much for waiting. We're ready to dive into our third game today of the Collegiate Battlegrounds Association tournament. It's been a wild ride so far. We had one game on Miramar, one game also coming out on the Wrangle, and it was actually over 2 games, a back-to-back win from Concordia. Like, that is what I call dominating. So far, they got 100% win rate.
Yeah, 100% win rate. Definitely not a bad place to be. But I have to feature Southeastern from that game too. 12 kills, man. 12 kills. Like, standout aggression, calculated shots, chaotic, I believe, with 6 kills alone. Divine play from Southeastern in that game too. And, you know, we talked about kind of circle shifts. When was the last time you saw a clean Potato Hill finish in a Wrangle, Max? It's been a hell of a long time for me anyway.
Yeah, I mean, we had that also on the first game on Miramar. We had like a very close finish on Power Grid. Like, the circles have been delivering in really good fashion with circles that we do not usually see. I think, it's fun on a spectator perspective, but like from teams that do not know too much about each other, maybe struggle a little bit on those rotations, those are not fun times.
Yeah,
they're definitely not fun times because they're struggling the circles. They're not good to play with. They're not many compounds. That means you've got to play into the open. You've got to know the terrain, like the back of your pocket. It is a really tricky kind of day so far for all of these teams, but I think that, going into the next game, I'm hoping, even though I think they're pretty fun to watch and cast, I'm hoping for like a more normal circle, just so the teams can just breathe in, breathe out, and just have a little bit of a more breathing space for themselves and just relax more into the next 2 games.
Yeah, but then again, it's also up to them to maybe, even though they're playing game after game after game, to have absorbed as much information from that game on how the other teams around them rotated, positioned. It's always hard because you kind of do that from VOD reviewing, but
live
if you
reviewing.
if you can still kind of live review and as you've rotated on phase game 1, you kind of go, oh yeah, I see maybe this team or this player. As you've even grabbed a few kills from game 1, you kind of maybe gone that kind of A to B thought process of, okay, well, we took down this team there. We know they dropped there, so they maybe pattern this direction. There's always something to learn and always something to grab along the way. So I hope that as many teams as possible have done that.
I do agree, Imperium. But with that said, we're still going to be making our way. Over if you want to the link. There's oh, okay, apparently you're a little bit muted, but that's fine, ladies and gentlemen, but that's fine. We're ready to jump back into game number 3. That's going to be a quick recap, but that is going to be fine. But with that said, we are going to be then once again mentioning that we are supporting the association of Play for Pink. So you want to head on over maybe to playforpink.org and support that organization that's fighting versus breast cancer, and maybe do a donation or just get a little bit more educated on the matter.
Couple of teams instantly dropping towards the western side of this map. You have a side of St. Ambrose looking to join up with Fear the Fork and the rest of his team, which is Florizona. So we'll have to see how they do take that fight against each other. But otherwise, with that nice even playing path spread, again, a little bit similar to phase 1, we are seeing overall clean distribution of teams across this Miramar map.
Yeah, definitely. I think a little bit better than what we saw in the first game. And there's already no live reviewing. You mentioned VOD reviewing. Here we're going to be having a little bit of live reviewing, which I still like. But going to be seeing some Winchester coming on through, and the Winchester, he's got that scope right off the bat on it, which means that you can take long distance fights since the very second you pick up that weapon. And I'm going to find himself one. You know what? Midwest, we're going to be going for that first kill, and we're going to be having a little bit of JoJo fighting early on, as we'd like to say, and chaotic. Despite doing so good on that second game, actually, game number 3 will not be his cup of tea.
Nothing like a little bit of BM and psychology coming into early parts of this game 3 with the punching bag kill shot. But phase 1, southeast, baby. Los Leones right in the center. Now, we do know that landing in Los Leones, all well and good. Nothing wrong with that. But staying in Los Leones, staying inside that city area, is a no-no for me. Maybe on the north edge, maybe on the south edge, right by those warehouses. Deadly. Great, because there's plenty of high ground. But inside the city, man, you're taking a huge risk staying there if Los Leones is still inside Phase 2, Phase 3 onwards.
Wait, I'm just realizing, is Midwest logo the turtle from Kung Fu Panda?
Could be.
I have the impression that's what I'm seeing on the bottom left of the screen. Monkey. Oh my god, I want to rewatch Kung Fu Panda right now. That made my day. There you go. That woke me up.
You are satisfied right now with tonight's games just
I
from
got
that?
I got my meme full just by that. There you go. That's some quality, and maybe even some quality shots coming out. That'll make my day even better. That's Crop GG. And for a long distance shot, but unfortunately not quite able to find it with his juicy SLR. We'll find one bullet, but that's what he shall get. Ooh,
outside of the Los Leones area that I kind of talked about, a couple of other key parts of this Phase 1 would easily be La Bandita, because you know that it's a huge crater where you're able to hang on the high ground edge, dip on the inside a bit to get a bit of protection, and of course, you know, you're going to get a lot of core information overlooking the areas of Los Leones. And then if you're looking down south, you're going to have the high ground to the west of Puerto Paraiso, which is going to be nicely in play, plus those high ground mountains to southwest of Chumacero, which is going to be very nicely rotated by UC Berkeley should they pull the timing of that rotation off fairly quickly.
Yeah, I was just about to mention those southern mountains. They can be really detrimental to a lot of these teams if they use that information, of course, to their advantage. There's only one team there so far, so a lot of teams could potentially try and capitalize on that opportunity. But up north, a lot of teams will potentially be encountering each other mid-rotation as we pan on over to Rochester. Rochester's, not forget, in case you guys did join the stream maybe a little bit late, Rochester Institute of Technology did take themselves up that second position right behind Concordia, because Concordia, no one is going to be stopping them. But still, they had a really strong performance, not only in terms of position, but also in terms of kills. So I think that they're definitely a team on Miramar to be very, wary and cautious about.
In comes the medic to get that revive off, but will they survive as Iceman is pushing forward?
There you go. Here's Iceman's nade coming on through to get himself into that car. They've got to pick up some speed. Will they be able to do so? They hear it. They're going to go aggressively for the push. Iceman going to spot the information, but unfortunately not too many bullets in that info. He's got 24. And for the spray with the iron sight. Picks up one. That's going to be done. Looking for over now the shots with the Mini 14. Can he get it? Hits one. Hits a second.
Come on.
He's just so far away. Another 24. And he has to get out. Unfortunately, and that is going to be it. Iceman picking up a double frag for his team.
It was actually Crop that secured that knockdown, but either way, that was great teamwork.
We'll say it's Iceman
get that. Yeah, we'll say Iceman for the lulz. Nothing against you, Crop, but either way, great play coming out from Winchester.
Back on over to another fight. It's gonna be happening. It says Chumacera, which you did mention earlier. Imperium could be. Oh wait, just a second. I don't think that's how you're supposed to park your car. Gonna pop the wheel right away. You should maybe get away from that car. Maybe just jump away. I think the running would be a little bit faster. Picks up one nice shot. It's going to be spinning into oblivion. We'll jump over the wall eventually, but that was absolute mayhem in like 10 seconds.
Yep, pretty much. We're also seeing a fight in Monte Nuevo, baby.
Damn, you hyped for Monte Nuevo. What was that? I think I've never seen you hype for a compound like this.
Well, it's Monte Nuevo, baby. Or should I say Monte Nuevo?
No, the Spanish accent is my thing. I'm going to have to copyright you, Imperium.
Cool.
Hey, after 3 strikes, you're not allowed to cast anymore.
There you go.
There you go. Okay.
I'm just not going to talk now.
Briskets. The man that we did see, Poggers grenades, as you would like to say, onto that second game as they move down. Sees the information, sees the end of the barrel, goes for the spray, but Brisket not able to convert it into a knock. But now, unfortunately for him, the information has been gone over. Did he just molly himself?
No!
Yes, he did. And he's going to have to be very careful about that one. At least you know that no one's going to push up those staircases. That's a straight up fact. Cincinnati will keep Brisket alive, but that was very unfortunate run of events. Going to use a little bit of utility on this side.
Hello, darkness, my old friend Nearly, but Brisket is going to hold on for now. He's going to hear those footsteps rolling up the stairs.
Gonna go for the early shots. Brisket gonna have to jump and abandon ship, but abandon ship we will not be able to do. And that is Cincinnati out this by a really good second game. Game number 3 on Miramar. Not quite gonna go their way. So only 15 teams in this lobby are still alive. And phase 1 is just about to close up. Imperium is gonna be good. Oh wait, oh, they're good. That's actually gonna be the replay of Iceman. I was like, wow, I did not know. I'm just not used to have these replays high production quality over here.
All right.
But there you go. The shot's coming on through. And we're going to be seen normally in the kill feed. It was taken by Crop. We'll see if that's indeed true, Imperium, or did you lie? Huh.
I was right,
Crop.
see?
Yeah, it was right.
See?
You found with Bington. Okay, Imperium, I apologize.
It's okay.
I'm so sorry.
It's too late to apologize, though. It's too late.
You gotta stop mentioning that music. Like, I actually dislike that music video on YouTube now.
You gotta stop making mistakes, then? Oh! Oh!
The mistake here is you, Imperium. But okay, with that said, gonna be good.
What Mom said, but anyway.
Jesus Christ, what is it? You just try and push it next level every single time? Got that? Oh, he's there! Oh, I saw him for a second. I was happy. Just lighting up my day. Still funny, amazing. But the circle about to close up. They're gonna have to see where Face is gonna go. Maybe a Lost Leonis finish. Just keep on leveling up these circle shifts on every single game.
Oh baby.
Oh baby, indeed.
Oh baby. It's gone northeast. The good thing is that Los Leones is kind of on the edge of the circle, but as Rochester does continue to take that fight, they're going to be engaging on towards the side of Ontario Collegiate right now, but they're a little bit too spread. Pseudo Void is going to get the knockdown onto Dude, going to confirm that kill. Nicely done by Void.
Nicely done. That was really enjoying how he pulled that one through. But now the nades will be in hand. Hershey of Rochester Institute of Technology going to be looking for those knocks. And he does indeed find one. Onto Oblivion, the ace. And the off angle of Crop is going to be huge, actually. I do not expect him.
Be careful.
I do not expect the Spanish Inquisition also, but that's okay. Crop GG going to be shifting on over to his utility. And seem like this team doesn't want to go for it. And a full push of Iceman, man. He's full sending on this one. Finds a knockdown instantly. God damn, Iceman. This guy seems unstoppable. Is going to be looking now for the final kill on the opposing side. Should be able to do so in pretty easy fashion. They are just crashing themselves in the open. And Ontario are eliminated. Rochester, what a hell of a push that was.
Rochester, baby. Incredible stuff coming out from them. Nicely aggressed, nicely pushed. It creates more space for them on the eastern side of this phase 2. It is more close to the central part, so then controlling is so much more important as Midwest with those grenades are going to take those shots on towards FSU.
I had a lot of hope for that grenade delta, but you know what? Still, really good respect on that attempt. Grib's going to be going down below, trying to get that position, potentially a few shots from the compound, at least, and make sure that they cannot retreat in this compound, potentially not without taking a few bullets in their bodies. So overall, I think the hit, Grib's got a great position. He's going to spot one. Going to go for the second minute. Got to continue that spray. Continues to spray and find himself a sexy double onto FSU. And overall, this position from Gribbs, is just so worthwhile. Going to convert 2 kills, even potentially a third. Is going to switch on over to the SLR. And a little bit more scoped in. Unfortunately, the third knock will not be found, but at least that's still going to be 2 extra kills confirmed for this team. Like, Gribbs alone, that reposition was huge. We're now going to go shit on over to another fight. Another team just pushing on over to the roadside. That was the SLR, but god damn, Gribbs is just relentless on his shots.
And what was great for Gribbs is that he had actually rotated to that building position. He predicted what was going to happen with Florizona, right? He thought, okay, if they're going to backtrack, if they're going to look to disengage, if I'm ahead of the pack, I'm going to be able to punish them, and that's exactly what Gribbs did.
I say we did going to be having Florizona State out in 14th. Now we're still going to be seeing these teams take down. The circle still has Los Leones inside of it, but as you said, Imperium, we do not want to see teams go inside of Los Leones itself, because that's where things could get a little bit more sticky for your squad. Norwich, having their player actually flushed away. That's going to be the end of bloody motions. Down to only now, Cake Sturman. Trying to jump on over, trying to be a little bit unexpected. Try to go for the sneaky play over the balcony, but it's not going to work out. Rochester, once again, in the kill feed. They are like the decimators of teams, the destroyers of worlds. But Concordia about to destroy their world as they find themselves that initial knockdown. But Concordia has not been it throughout the two first games in Imperium. They have not seemed to be this overly aggressive team. When they find knocks, they're not going to go for the aggressive push. So I think that despite them two knocks not through, they're not going to go for it. But the headshots of Snack Attack onto that SLR will still be impactful.
Concordia looking for a third win in a row, and that's the way to kind of start things off, as in through the smokes, not getting those shots off. But are they going to look to take advantage of this? They were on a 2-2 split, so it is going to take a little bit more time for that full squad to join together and full send it down the hill. They have the high ground advantage, but the benefit for the side of Rochester is that they are inside that compound, so they were able to execute that revive cleanly. What's great for Concordia is that they have created that space and suppressed the members of Rochester in towards that building. But as the next phase popped up, it still has Locionas in play. It's going to be hard to hold on to. It does create less landmass available, or priority landmass available, for these remaining 12 teams.
Central Florida, I have the high ground, Anakin. They're going to be taking the sprays and the toll on the teams down below. But I love the position, actually, of British Columbia down south. Like, they're uncontested. Yeah. No team's going to fight your position. You got a high ground spot, too. So if you want to rotate, you're going to get that information going your way. I think it's huge still how they play in this game. So really big ups to British Columbia on that position. But Beck, troublesome spot nonetheless. Got to be very careful of teams coming around him. He's going to have one player of a southeastern pick himself up 12 kills Imperium on that second game on Orango. Going to try and potentially push his way back up as Beams. As Ploy and Sanek unfortunately did lose Chaotic really early on towards Power Grid. They're just going to become the bush, become one with the fawn and floor of Miramar, ready to strike onto Beck. If he does that, the information will be given over Imperium, and that's where the tribble will ensue for Beams. He's just waiting for Beck to stop moving, go for the spray, but unfortunately with the barrel at that distance, the spray is a little bit too impactful, and Beams, he striked. Was not able to convert into a knockdown, and will try and run away from that fires. Now the fire's going to be breaking out between the New York City State and also between the Southeastern. There's actually a third party coming out from a distance by Arctis Wolf. Will be able to find himself a mini 14 shot, but will be snatched away by Regimes.
Nice by North Carolina. It was good initially that was coming out from Beams and the rest of his team, but he was too far away, and when he did strike, it instantly notified North Carolina, and in that time Beck had been joined up by the rest of his team, so it was a kind of level of control and aggression that North Carolina were able to pull out and punish the side of Southeastern. But for now, Southeastern will hold on as a two-man team. Bluey and Spirit Sanic will stay on the northern side of this phase 3.
I'm a little bit scared for Midwest. Reason why they're split from each other. If a member gets knocked away, it's going to take a lot more resources for you to get that member back up on his feet. And I think that is where the underlying issue could be coming out for Midwest. So I want to try and see some 2-2 splits minimum coming out on their end. Going to be sending slowly Caroleon forward. I think that this is a decent spot to aim for, but unfortunately they were not expecting this team. They were not expecting a full squad up against them. There's LSU, Louisiana State. As going to be seeing, especially also the Florida, like Central Florida, also popping into the kill feed once again. Delta really just congested, really cornered up in that location with the high ground position next to him. Sure, he's on a cliffside. She should be somewhat safe. He's going to get actually spotted away.
Nice.
Delta's going to have to take that fight for himself, as he will be overtaken by Central Florida and will get flushed away from this game.
That's great for Central Florida, because those two knocks might be revived. No, one is taken away, but the revive will come out, and they hold on to the western side of this phase 4 circle shift up. And when you look at the side of Louisiana, they're outside the circles. Ginger Jesus with the Groza, looking to say, I made you see God, and he gets one knockdown. He's not going to get the second, but he's going to continue on with those SKS shots.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the SKS, but if you use that weapon perfectly, it can still have a huge impact on your lobby. And you still had also that Groza clip coming out that did assist, and eventually getting himself that knockdown and that kill game confirmed. Over to now. Going to be Colsey. Despite being a one-man team for his squad, he's still going strong. He's still going aggressive, and he's going to get himself into that car and try and just go for the aggressive push, because at this point in time, Imperium, we both know he's got nothing to lose. He's just going to full send into this game. So let's see if he can try and make it alive, as it seemed like a little bit of a tumble was happening on their end.
I was thinking if Causey had a vehicle, he could look to maybe use those flat grounds to maybe rotate up north, but now he's out in the open.
Ooh.
But Dragon Legend's being put down to 23 health. Nice by Halsey to stand his ground and take those shots. And sometimes standing your ground and taking those shots is way better than trying to run away, right? Yeah, okay, the risk is that you will get those shots connected on you, but if you're confident, you're going to make those shots work in your favor and suppress the opposing team.
Asian has been able to really trade this position for so many frags earlier. And he might be able to find himself another kill. Spotting himself onto Colsey. There he goes, going to be going for it. Going for the spray from up above. And that's going to be the barrel picking up the kill, though. Makes himself obvious over to Central. Midwest will indeed get eliminated. The Tortoise is now dead. Even though in the Kung Fu Panda, he's not really dead. He's like in the world of the spirits. So we'll say that for the sake of it. They went over to the world of the spirits.
Feels bad, man. Feels bad for Midwest, right? He did such a good job of suppressing this side of the university center, and then he ended up getting backstabbed by Sunonian agent. But now we come over to UC Berkeley. You talked about their position. They've been constantly on the rotating play from the south side of Los Leones, and because they've been constantly proactive, they're in a position where they're able to grab control of these circles. Not in the center, but not on the very edge, right? And they're looking very confident in this game so far.
I just realized we got a team called UA. Like, that is the name of the school in My Hero Academia, and I'm actually extremely hyped right now. UA, the school of heroes and the school of also pro players of PUBG. There you go. Didn't know they had a PUBG section in that school, but that's still great to see. But UA, unfortunately, getting overtaken by the villains of the story. This is not the redemption arc anime. And they're going to be using two of their very, very precious players. As Berkeley going to be actually a great influence on this fight. But unfortunately, this is what happens when you rotate late into the circle. The Blues is going to take a toll on you, and the teams will be having some kind of a gatekeeping position on you. So unfortunately for them, UA will be losing 3 of their extremely valuable players.
Now looking over towards Louisiana, that's going to be him eliminated, and down she goes, there she blows.
That's going to be it. GDWR player Louisiana trying their best, but it will not be paying off in this game. Talking about what's happening so far in this game, 10 teams are still in this lobby, as SAU actually under fire pretty heavily by the New York State. They're looking a little bit more, no. Interesting, as this circle is actually not going to go downhill, it's going to go uphill. That means the teams has got the high ground position, like the side, you know, Sneak Attack and all the rest of his team will be having a really big influence and impact on this game potentially, as long as they get that synergy in play, as long as they spray down similar targets and work together. That is what I want. If they do so, they should be okay. But UTK could be getting himself a little bit of a sneaky angle, as they do have a high ground position up above this team. Overall, the unexpected could be happening.
For Concordia, normally I would question that 2-2 split at this late stage of the game, right? But based off the fact that they've won the first two games, I can't help but go, yeah, they're confident of making it work. Let's see what they can do with it, right? I said at the start of this broadcast, open mind, let's see what the teams can show us. Concordia have shown us in the first 2 games that they have what it takes to close out these games. We'll have to see it work on this 2-2 split.
I'm definitely more of a fan of that 2-2 split coming out than their 4-man split that we saw earlier. So at least they can go for the res if needed. That's going to be an eventuality, as Cooley Awesome is going to find himself that initial knockdown with his team. Looking for a second, Central Florida. They just had to full send it over in that muscle car. They lost almost everyone except 2 of their very precious players. They're going to find himself a decent half position to hold on to for the time being.
British Columbia.
Cruzy is going to be taken over by British Columbia. And I mentioned this team in towards like phase 2.
Yeah.
Their position down south was huge. At high ground position, uncontested. And now he's going to slowly reward them with kills and a long-term potential game. But now, unfortunately for them, they're on the edge of the circle. The information was granted because of their shots taken towards Central Florida. And now they're going to be on the receiving end potential of the bullets chucked on over by the side of Concordia.
Next phase popping up. Where is it going to go? Is it going to center up? Yes, it does indeed, but it goes a little bit more north than maybe some of the teams expected, but it is going to favor the side of North Carolina because they can use that low ground dip by the side of the road to their advantage to hopefully gain control of the northern half of the circle. You see Beck right there. He's doing a great job. He's able to get information, join up with the rest of his team, which, hey, look, I don't mind that, but it is important that they do think about moving into the center of that circle.
I think it's good to try and rotate away because I think he's expecting a lot of teams to know that this is a hard circle. This is really hard for the team down south that they're going to have to potentially try and full center. He's going to actually go back into the center, which is really intriguing. I thought he had a game plan, but it seemed like back to get some resources from the rest of his team. What?
He brought Arctic Wolf. He went back and picked up a teammate.
Yeah, that's the resource.
And brought a teammate.
That's the resource he brought. Teammates are resources. Just pass them on over. But yeah, they're going to put back as a two-man team like that. They can go for the res if needed. They can put a little bit more pressure also from their little dip behind that roadside. But now, British Columbia, they got to go for the push using 1, 2, 3 of their players. Able to trade it off in pretty good fashion, though. Sneak Attack going to be doing some work with himself on that SLR.
Oh, be careful.
British Columbia taking that straight. They're holding on their ground, Imperium. British Columbia, despite being in such a tricky and troublesome position, they are doing extremely good performance. The blue zone right behind them is going to slowly engulf them. They will not have the time to go for the reses, and they know that during that time, Concordia, they can hold on strong. The first aid potentially coming out, and Concordia will be able to get that first aid down. And now he can just go back to sprint down the opposing side of British Columbia. As Concordia, though, going to do two things at the same time. Taking pressure down south and also pushing their way towards Rochester. This is maybe a little bit too much on their plate. They seem like British Columbia will go down eventually, and now Concordia can put their focus on making it inside the circle itself.
Yeah, 2-2 split initially that came out from the side of Concordia. Kind of put them in a little bit more pressure against British Columbia, but they stood their ground. Cool Pepper joined up. They did lose a player on their rotation. As you see, Berkeley are eliminated. The circle, of course, does also favor the side of Rochester, who are still up as a full squad. Down goes St. Ambrose.
Ginger Jesus, a.k.a. Imperium, looking really, really good in that one, despite being the last player of his team of UA. UA high score looking good and as strong as the anime as I remember, so making me proud on that one at least. Beck still looking insanely good on those DMR shots, but unfortunately not able to convert in and off just yet. They're going to send himself Winlow dead center, but the shots are just not connecting for any of the teams down south because they're just mainly also so focused on each other. They're mainly just not able to put their focus on the teams up north over into the fields. And I love what they're doing so far, Imperium. They're just spreading themselves super thinly to get all these different angles of fire. And the circle is going to be looking still, once again, so good for this team. I love how currently they're playing for the side of New York.
Yeah, but then again for Rochester, once they get rid of, so to speak, Concordia on the southern side, they will have kind of firm control of that compound that's still in play. They'll have firm control of the southern side of this phase, and that could allow them to spread their wings a little bit and just spread out of those buildings kind of one by one, grab a little bit of information, maybe then start to steamroll that push. But we'll have to wait and see. Is Regime staying on the outside of the circle, punishing one of the players of Southeastern, and that's great. I'm okay with that because you don't necessarily expect it, and he's giving information over to the rest of his side.
Oh no, you got to hit those shots, Pepper. Oh no, not going to be able to hit them. Unfortunately, the blue zone's going to be engulfing them, and I think that here Concordia should have just gone for the aggressive push, but no, actually going to be driving on by, down to 6 HP. Got to be careful. There's still one player over there going to spot the information, looking for the players over Rochester. One of the players of Rochester did leave the compound, but he's got to go for the flushes while he still can. Goes for 2. And Ginger Jesus of UA is just doing so much goddamn work for his team. Southeastern will also be taken away, so now down to the top 4 teams. Ginger Jesus will be taken down eventually, but not before taking a huge killing spree for his team. A sneak attack, able to sneak his way close to the circle. He's not in there just yet, but Regimes, he's been proactive, taking position over on the southern western edge. And we're trying to stop the side of Rochester to really take more control on this game.
Yeah, Regimes has been really fantastically proactive for his side outside the circle. There's a little high ground mountain dip that he kind of used in the right time that he had to give more space to the rest of his team. We also saw Concordia go out, so it is a 4v3. This is up for North Carolina to win. They have the low ground, they have the dip, but can they peek and shoot at the right time, in the right moments, to make it count for their side? It's going to be important for Regimes to join up with the rest of his squad, which is why he threw out those smokes to make it down that hill.
Still huge respect to the side of Concordia. 2 chicken dinners and a 3rd position. That is still extremely good consistency. Also from the side of Oh man, there's a few shots coming on through on their side, but also big respect to Rochester, right? Being extremely
Yeah,
consistent.
big time.
Second position on the first game, second position on Wrangle, not too sure, but they were also pretty good on that particular position. And now going to make it here to a top 2 minimum. Rochester, also another team to keep on your radars for the entirety of this Collegiate Battlegrounds Association tournament. I think going to push on through. Oh, Jeans Brandy has no mini ammo for his side. I do hear from production. Thank you very much, Chunk. But now the push going to be happening. Winlow with that or with the Scar. Well, no, so what I'm saying Scar. It's going to be was yes, LR. Finishes with the same letter, but that's fine. Not going to be able to find anything just yet. But once again, it comes down to the fact that I love the spread they got so far on the side of the road. Just they cannot push on over Imperium. There's no way. They've got too many angles. No tree or rock will give you that coverage. Do you need to push on over?
Like, even if the circle goes down south and away from North Carolina, either way, it's going to center up into the last phase, and that's going to give even more control to North Carolina, because Rochester, they have to move downhill. They have to move out of the compound. You're going to be a sitting duck, Rochester. But the thing is, because they've been inside that compound, Max, do they have the smokes? Do they have the utility to push back North Carolina?
I was just about to say, the only way I can see Rochester taking this one is if they got the smokes to delay their push towards the road. That's going to be centering up on that position very, very soon. And then potentially you're going to be seeing the side of a New York State that can potentially try and, put the pressure down. If they still got some nades and some mollies, then that could really turn the tide of the fight in their advantage. But that is really going to be close. Like, utility is going to have a huge underlying impact on how this game is going to be potentially closing up. Still, like, it is going to be a 4v3. Was Rochester take himself one of their players down earlier to the side of Concordia? Who's going to be taking this game?
It centers up by North Carolina. It centers up on the road. Right. Again, Rochester, they have to think about how they move down. Time's ticking. 2 minutes 30. It's closing in. The shots are being fired. That's going to be a nice smoke being thrown out by North Carolina and Rochester. But Rochester, I think it was thrown a little bit too far. And now the shots are going to be thrown out by Beck. It is important to North Carolina. Keep pressure on Rochester. Give them no room to breathe.
Exactly, that's going to be our main focus, though. Nice little angle held by Pseudo Void. The knock will not be found, but at least he's going to be forcing a little bit more resources out. But we did mention the smokes, right? Imperium going to be having a huge impact on this one, and the smokes will indeed come on through, giving a huge opportunity over to the side of Rochester as a 3-man team. They got Crop, they got Hershey, and Pseudo Void already becoming names in just 2 games, and also now 3 games over here on this other map of Miramar. Rob's going to go for the wide push more on the western side, looking for the angles, looking for the knockdowns. But I really like how just New York City State are just playing this line, playing this little ridge for themselves. They can just keep on peeking up and down. The grenades will be flying on by. But really, this is just Rochester desperate to find a more central position. Now the circle's going to be centering up on top of the road. Nice break coming out from Hershey of the side of Rochester. Got to send the entire team on forward now. Pseudo Void maybe staying a little bit too passive on the backside. Hershey did get confirmed away from this game. Pseudo Void's going to be found away, and that's going to be it.
There you go.
And the New York City State will be taking that one.
Yeah, indeed. Nice chicken dinner coming out from North Carolina in this game 3. And Rochester, to be fair, I'm going to give them credit. They made a great push down that roadside. They did throw out the smokes, but the thing is, right, you got to try and balance between smokes you get across the road and still trying to grab a little bit of information to maybe pick off the shots and maybe get a knockdown. They did get a knockdown on the Beck, but because North Carolina had that man advantage, they were able to make it work.
And able to make it work in really good fashion. Like, that circle was really good. I want to also still give a really strong shout out over to British Columbia. Like, that southern position was just well played. At one point, the circle kept on shifting up north, so it was really hard for them to be able to keep up with those circle rotations at the end of the day. But I think overall, they had a really good idea, and that high ground position was just really valuable for just converting it into kills, which they were able to do on a pretty regular basis. So overall, for that one, just big shout out to British Columbia, despite them not really taking no big positioning points, but in terms of kills, I think they did show up in pretty good fashion.
And hey, Concordia, they didn't win the game, but I think it was 3rd place or 4th place for them in that 3rd game. That consistency, as well as consistently strong results, I have no doubt that they're going to be on top of the standings come the end of today's games, even if they have a poor game for, because when you look kind of historically in kind of PUBG games, when you're looking at kind of 4-game series, for a team to get 3 out of 4 good results, that is kind of the best you can expect.
It's huge, yeah.
4 out of 4 good results is kind of rare, and 3 out of 4 is really kind of the hey, we've done our job. 2 out of 4 is good, but 3 out of 4 is just that so much sweeter.
Just a little bit more crisp. There you go. Still, NC State will be taking himself game number 3 today. I'm still really happy was, Rochester able to just remain, that consistent over all these games today so far. 3 games, like we had 2 consistent teams, right? Rochester and also the side of Concordia. So those teams can definitely deserve a lot of your respect. Didn't see too much of Big Penguin this game. I'm a little bit sad. I wanted to see some Big Penguin action happening over here. But overall, that was game 3 is looking really good. These circles are wild. The way they end, the areas where they end, they're on top of a road on Miramar. The odds of that happening are very slim. So I think the teams did try and respond to it in a really good fashion. But at the end of the day, it is going to be tricky. And still, I don't know. Today, these games have been just really great to see. Ah, there you go. But with that said, Imperium, we got 3 games in. We still got 1 little Erangel game on the menu for you guys. So what we're going to be doing, we're going to go for a very short break, and we'll be back for game numero 4 in just a few short minutes. Thank you very much for waiting, ladies and gentlemen. We are ready to dive into our fourth and final game of the day for the Collegiate Battlegrounds Association Tournament. It's been an insane amount of games coming up today, Imperium, so far. I had some fun. We had some wild circles.
Hell yeah.
Protect Your Heal circle. We had Power Grid circle. We had a middle of the road Miramar game end circle. Some wild games all around the board, but overall, some teams have been coming out rather consistent over the entirety of today.
They have, most notably, Rochester and Concordia really kind of stepping things up. Whether it's kills or placement points, they've really, in my opinion, carried themselves confidently and shown their strengths along the way. And I'm expecting bigger things from them, but I'm also expecting big things from this game based on this plain path, nice from the west over to the east.
There you go. We're going to be making our way into game number 4. The plane path was going to be indeed from George Pole all over to the northern side of Novo. So overall, way better plane path than what we had on the first game. That one was a little bit, a little bit sucky. I'm not going to lie. It was mainly focused on the southern eastern edge. This one's going to be a little bit more central. Teams will easily be able to get their drop location under control. Not too many teams did drop on that last game of our angle up in the northern edge, like, above the river or above Yasnaya Poliana. So overall, no teams are going to be heavily struggling because of this. But once again, we're going to be seeing 2 teams dropping in military base, just like on that last Wrangle game. So some early fights could still be happening over in military.
Cincinnati, they're going to be dropping a little bit close by. You have also a bit of a fight going on between the side of Concordia and Louisiana.
There you go. So a few shots will be coming out. Oh my god, okay, Concordia can be already popping off into the kill feed. So that's really intriguing. I mean, not surprising whatsoever, Imperium, I do have to say. So they're going to be trying to get for maybe a little bit of a kill record for today. That's just a few seconds in, and they're already looking like they're an insane team. UC Berkeley is going to try and cross on over, regroup. They did a little bit of looting in different compounds. Now they want to try and get that man advantage back in their favor and not get too overconfident, not too cocky.
Interesting. Is Michi Boy going to look for that confirmation on the Cakester, man?
Oh, wait.
He's got to be aware that Bloody Motions could be looking for a bit of a counter knock, a bit of revenge on his teammate. We'll have to wait and see how it comes out. But no, run over through. That is dirty, man.
He's having a fun time, going to try and defend it up with a shotgun, but apparently he's going to be leaving it at a distance, switching on back on over to his main long-distance weapon, and he will be connecting a few little shots, but nothing of value going to be coming up just yet. And, oh, Jesus Christ, we talked about not too many teams dropping in the northern edge. Well, the northern edge is what the phase 1 circle is going to be aiming to really envelop. But overall, before we do really get some big boy action over here, as some few shots will be still coming out from Bloody Motions, this tournament has indeed been sponsored by NACL, the North American Collegiate League, and it did, nicely so, propose a $1,000 cash prize for this tournament, and also a chance to compete with the Wolves PUBG Esports team in the spring split. So overall, thank you very much to them for sponsoring this event with some epic plays just like this. That's Mitchy Boy of UC Berkeley fighting over with the M16, but no shots, nothing of value on the Norwich team will be found as of yet.
Great spray control on the side note with that M16 and that burst fire mode. So really great play coming out from Michi Boy. Looking at kind of how teams are going to have to rotate inside this circle, North Carolina, who landed in George Pole, they have a really great rotation. You see instantly Beck is already starting to make his way on the north side of the river along the high ground that's just to the south of shooting range, and what that's going to do is that's going to allow them to once again gather that information and create that control.
Webbington goes bye-bye, picked up in the open, and unfortunately the chance of a res, or especially double res, is going to be really a slim chance. Going to be stolen away potentially from the other side by LSU. He's going to be able to pick it up. Frodo will going to be the first one to take it for California. That's going to be the double going their way. Look at that, already looking strong in this game. 16 teams still alive, but already down to 56 players. So a few teams now really not having that man advantage you desperately need in the early to mid-game stage.
Definitely not. And because of the phase 1 circle and that plane path, we are seeing, and we are going to see a little bit more aggression from teams outside the circle on those rotations. We are going to see possibly some teams get caught out for that. I do like the fact that Beams is sending himself up on the eastern side to give that information for his southeastern teammates. But do have to be aware that there is a juicy Alabama side as a 2-2 split.
Northern side, the teams are trying to go for early rotation, and it's going to be heavily contested as Delta looking for a few shots and hope to find a knock, but can go for the kill confirm, and that is going to be kill number 1 over to them. Potentially the first one of many, as the Tortoise is back in play, baby. I just love this. I just love this. This is making my day.
Oh, man.
Best team logo ever. G2, Fnatic. Nah. That's a good team logo.
North Carolina set themselves up on the south of Severny. I just don't really know how to respond to that. And then Ontario Collegia have also got a nice high ground area to the east of shooting range. But now Delta continuing to take those shots for his Midwest side. He's a one-man wrecking machine. Let's be fair. He's a one-man wrecking machine.
Yeah, he is. Really looking good. Delta, once again, with the Mini 14. Going to switch on over to the barrel, potentially, if anyone gets really close to him. But a lot of teams, I do like this really heavily. A lot of teams trying to cross on over the river early on. Sure, he's not 100% sure he's going to be ending up on the northern edge, but he's going to try and put a big focal point as a team to go up there. Concordia already up to 3 kills, 1 for Morns, 2 over to Cooley Awesome. As they're going to keep on pushing their way forward. They're in a little bit of a dip position between 2 mountaintops, so you never know. Teams could try and take shots towards you from a distance, but at the end of the day, they're still in a position that is looking pretty strong for them in the early stage, rewarding them up with 3 kills.
I worry about the University of Tennessee. They dropped in Yasnaya. They've looted in Yasnaya, but they're still in Yasnaya. And disengaging away from that area is definitely going to be very important for them.
Going to be the case. Causey looking good. Was Delta pop into the kill feed altogether? They are looking so aggressive. Potentially a bunch of extra kills going their way. But they need to keep on pushing onto Ontario. Utility would be a viable option. I think maybe a little bit too far. I think that with the amount of knocks you had, if you got a car, I would just say get into the car, push onto Oblivion the Ace, and you'll be fine, which is exactly what they're going to be doing, but not doing it as a team, which is, in my opinion, a little bit, or in my opinion, it is a straight up a mistake. You should definitely try and use that man advantage when Oblivion the Ace is left as a one-man team. Down to 20 HP, 1 bullet will be enough to seal his fate. As Delta trying to go for the fight, will be able to find it with the barrel, and that is going to be it. Midwest going to be annihilating Ontario up in 16th.
Now, as the Blue Zone's closing in, we still wait to see military base team rotate into the mainland really quite effectively. But Rochester, they know what they're doing. They've been looking pretty good in that side, but they do have a nice little space that they can move into on the southern side of the river around the Rossock School area to grab some information before getting a more centralized position inside the circle.
Delta still looking for a chance with that barrel, but man, the Delta specifically has been really surprising this final game today. Taking some shots, really not scared to go and pull that trigger when needs to. Seen a few little tumbles over there in the kill feed apparently. Some teams having a little bit of an issue on their driving license. But that is fine to come on through. But Imperium, intrigued to see. Is going to go back on over to the northern side, or is going to go down to Hardshift? I'm intrigued to see. But British Columbia going to go aggressive, taking himself already a double. Knockdown, going to be trying to convert it instantly. Oh my god, the car's coming around. Oh my god, get yeeted away. Regimus going to be making that one pay off, and that's going to be it. British Columbia will be still eliminating the team of NC State, and that's going to be it for them. But that was an interesting way to breach it.
Hey man, if it works, it works. Am I right? If it works, it works. Sometimes that's all that needs to be said.
There you go, just get yeeted with a car. You know, if you've got no more bullets or you've got no weapons, a car is still a very deadly weapon. The deadliest weapon, actually, in the game. Well, maybe not, but just as a meme, we'll say that it's going to be the case. Circle did center up pretty nicely in the more southern western edge. It's going to be encountering positions like Roshock and also the southern side of Severny / shooting range. So overall, there's a lot of position, but it's mainly going to be potentially finishing on the slope, where it's been happening pretty much the entire day today. We had slope finishes left, right, and center, and I think the teams are just fed up by now on those slope finishes. So we're hoping for a Roshock finish to go down south.
And that's what I said about the University of Tennessee with their disengagement away from Yasnaya. Now they have to move into circle. They've stayed in that city since their drop spot. They don't really have that much information, and it worries me. It really does worry me.
Absolutely true. You see here it is. Also going to be going for their own respective rotation, trying to respond to the circle shift of phase 2. Still going to be a viable thing for them. Sneak attack, trying to sneak his way through, but unfortunately not going to happen. Colsey, once again, going to be popping to the kill feed for the good reasons, picking himself one knockdown onto UBC. The Concordia, I want to see this team really trying to move away from this location. They on the outskirts of Yasnaya Polyana in the field section. You got to try and regroup back as a team, or inside the edge of Yasnaya Polyana itself, or just leave the area as a whole. It's not in circles, I would say it's not worth it. Concordia, just get in the cars and get the hell away from this fight.
But that's what I love about Sneak Attack's flank position, right? He was able to create enough of a distraction onto the University of Tennessee that the rest of the team were able to join back up together. And right now, are relatively safe. It's not the easiest, but it is relatively safe off the back of what Sneak Attack had done. But now Sneak Attack is trying to get into more of a high ground position where he can once again distract Tennessee. It's going to be a little bit more pressurizing for the rest of the Concordia teammates, but they're using the terrain and the dips around them to back off and, as you said, kind of disengage away from that Yasnaya area.
Yeah, and that's definitely the viable option for them. Sneak attack might be left behind, but you know what? If the majority of his team does make it out alive, it's still going to be worthwhile. Spancargo looking for a few opportunities. She's going to try her best for Central Florida to represent University. At the end, getting pushed up by the Southeastern team, and they were just destroying it last game on the Irango Imperium with 12 kills to their name. You got the information on Spancargo, but they're not feeling like they want to push it just yet, taking their really long time, which I think would be a little bit of a risk because they're in an open terrain, which they could easily get picked up by.
Yeah, but you also have to tread with caution because they might not have all the information, as now the rest of the University of Central Florida side are looking to join up and give a little bit of support to Spam Cargo in the garage area. What I do like is that Big Butt Judy is maybe going to be able to provide that high ground sightline for the rest of the Central Florida side.
You're right, Bluey is not going to spot it out. Going to take some heavy damage trying to fight back. No headshots found just yet, unfortunately, on that trade-off. Now at least they know where one of the players are currently playing around those walls. Going to move on back, retreat. This is a position where you know you're going to get pushed on heavily by Southern Eastern.
Oh, they're going to disengage.
I'm actually okay with that happening, but I think that they should try and do it like behind the main, like, the little hilltops. So I think that overall that would have been maybe a little bit safer. But at the end, they're still going to make it up, pick enough speed, and they will be completely fine. But it seems like we do indeed have the circle going more further down south, which is still going to be a pretty heavy slope. And I would say here, where you want to go, northern side of Rostock. Take that box building and just spray all the teams that are fighting up north on the slope.
Or you could take the very southern part of the north part of the river because that's downhill, so it's a low ground terrain. You're able to look up that hill up towards the members of Rochester and maybe make it work.
Nice shot from Shabs, able to find himself one player of UTK. He's not the only player, and he's really down so damn low. One bullet or just a long distance grenade could still have a huge overlap and influence on this fight. Tennessee, still two-man team, Fluffy Wall, and also Redesta. Waiting for that chance. See the ghillie suit, but ghillie suit just moving like that is going to be a little bit too obvious, my friend. A nice shot. Oh my god, and I'm pretty sure that was a headshot to Fluffy Whale. Put down to just about 1/5 HP. That was a great shot coming out from the other side.
And, these are outside the circle. Tennessee and UBC, they're outside the circle, so they really have to kind of move in, right? And for Tennessee, it's not really kind of looking too good for them because they're only down to 2 players.
Yeah, indeed. That's going to be a little bit of an issue for them. A little bit of a pebble in their shoe on the long game. As Colsey trying to get back towards Delta. He wants to get the rest. Delta's been popping off this game. You want to keep him alive as long as possible. We're pushing versus a team that is really strong, and they just go for the instant shot. And that is going to be it. You see Wall taking himself an extra 2 frags.
Oh, Midwest, go bye-bye. And now as the teams are going to be rotating into the circle, a little bit of action coming in on the western side as well as CTX. Going to be looking for SC, not quite Southeastern, are going to survive this.
Yeah, pushing on Bauer. Chaotic once again, Southeast. Trying to get himself another great game if they potentially can, just like they did on Erangel game number 2. It's 12 frags. I remember repeating that already for the second time, but it was definitely a really worthwhile game to represent and, showcase.
Oh, nice.
Looking once again for another kill. That's going to be kill number 2 under their belt. still a lot to go for. The circle has been centering up in really good fashion, but it's about to close up once more. And I would love to see it end up in Rozhok because it would be a hard circle. And I'm evil, so I like to see these players suffer. Going to be pushing towards UTK.
Max, Rochester, they're a 4-man team. They have a 1-1-1-1 spread. They have a really clean control inside the circle. But the thing is, can they hold on to? Because teams are going to be converging shooters. Sneak attack eliminates Tennessee.
Already up to 6 kills, and they just look even more unstoppable than what they've been doing so far. Their consistency in terms of frags and position has been overwhelming the competition so far. Can they maybe close off with another top 3 on this final game for this Collegiate Battlegrounds Association tournament? We'll have to wait and see, but the circle comes up, and it does go up northwest, where one compound is currently free. That could be good for the side of Crimson.
It's also great for Rochester because, once again, they do control now the southeastern side of the circle. They do have Central Florida side to the east of them, and then to the east of Central Florida, you do have Southeastern making their way upwards. So we'll have to wait and see how these two teams hold on to this potential team fight.
It came down to the conclusion that the circle always goes over to Rochester. That's like over 4 games. That is my thesis. They're the circle magnet gods, and they always keep on getting it. So overall, we'll see if they're going to be able to use that one to their advantage. So far, they still have not got themselves a chicken dinner, but they got close on several attempts. Let's see if the 4th one might just be the proper one. As I talked about this compound, you know, taking the shots from down below onto the teams that are fighting on the slope. It was a good position, theoretically, if the circle still had Rozhok inside of it, which is not the case. So now the teams that did decide to go down south are unfortunately going to have to cross on over. This is why I'm on IGL, because I would suck at that position.
But then again, what I would say for Alabama is just full send it into the river and hold on to that south river line. But we'll have to wait and see how it does come out. As nice shots are being thrown out by Span Cargo, but she gets knocked in return.
Yeah, knocked in return. Looking for a little bit of a better opportunity potentially for the later game stage. But I like the fact that Crimson's team were able to take that compound under control. So that is exactly what I wanted to see happen for them. But especially like Rochester. That split, I think, is good for just information gathering. Maybe not the best for going aggressive, but I'm intrigued to see how they're going to play their cards correctly. As UC Berkeley, having one of their players knocked away was Magnum. 2 players, also Frodo and Mitchie, were taken away early on. And now Shane's going to go for the spray and is able to find it indeed. That's a knock. I'm going to give him more precious time to go for the res on his fallen teammate.
I don't get why Fear the Fork went in on his own, right? You're up as a full squad. You got to make those numbers count. As British Columbia trying to hold on, but not for long. Cincinnati are eliminated.
Yep, Cincinnati, see you later, Alligator. Fun time having you around. You can go and now rest. I mean, rest is actually North America, so it's actually pretty somewhat early for them, I do believe. But at the end of the day, Monty's going to be coming in with health hot with some SLR shots. But unfortunately, the SLR shots are not going to get those knocks just yet. He's going to be the last player currently standing for his team. It's going to be Sneak Attack. On down towards Morns to go for the res, but unfortunately for him, the blue zone is currently closing in on this fallen teammate, and they're downhill right now. They're going to buy some time with some smoke, which I think is desperately needed for Concordia, but Imperium, will it be enough to keep them into this game? I think it's going to require a little bit more than a few smokes to survive this.
Well, the good thing is that there is still kind of somewhat a relatively decent amount of space for Concordia as a Magnum. Able to get knocked down, but it's going to get returned. As Berkeley just trying to hold on. It's going to be Ihan Shane left on his own for this Berkeley side. And
Magnum was feeling confident pushing with 1 HP. He was like, yep, yeah, you know what? God damn it, full send it. You never know. It could be a nice clutch happening for me, but it's not going to be paid off in that way. Flores and the State still got Fear to Fall, the man that really popped off in game 1. Then game 2, game 3, really haven't seen too much about him, but let's see if he can try and come back into the final game of the day. In the water play, gonna spot one. Okay, well that's a free kill. Wait, no, he's not able to find it. No way, bloody motion. We switch on over to the UMP. The shot, well, that was like spot on. How does do those bullets not connect? I have absolutely no idea. It's coming in with literally just 1 HP. It will get knocked away eventually, but still, he survived for way longer than I would already expected from the get-go. And NU will be eliminated UA in overall 11th. What just happened?
Oh, but then it's a third party because the side of Louisiana on the other side of the river is going to confirm that kill. So if Persuasion isn't able to hold on, and talk about holding on, Berkeley, Ihan Shane was not able to hold on. He had done a great job taking out 2 members of Florizona, but now as the circle has shifted up north, it's right in the favor of the side of St. Ambrose.
There you go, Ambrose will be potentially taking themselves this one if they play their cards correctly. Southeastern looking for an opportunity to push their way up onto Rochester, but they's not going to be given an opportunity, and Rochester will be taking that one for themselves, and it's going to be then of Southeastern. But Rochester, once again, Imperium, one of the top 2 consistent teams, despite us losing ourselves the team earlier of Concordia, took himself 2 chicken dinners on game 1 and 2. Now it's time to shine for the side of Rochester.
Yeah, but then again, they kind of gave space and time for the side of Central Florida to move into circle from the eastern side. And it's going to be that clean 2v2 on the edge of the circle between these 2 teams. And all the while, once again, St. Ambrose, they can just sit pretty inside that compound on the middle of the circle.
Yep. Pseudo is going to be found away for the side of Rochester. So now it's a one-man team, one-man army plays as Louisiana State is going to be eliminated in 7th. 6 teams still remaining in this lobby. Could be potentially down to 5 if Crop GG does die eventually. He's pushing towards Central. Looking for that chance. 30 bullets in that barrel clip. 30 peek on top of that mountain. No one's going to spill him out. Finds himself 1. Can he get the 1v2 right now? Going to retreat back. Wants to go for the slow heal off. Was that first aid kit, get himself back to 75% health, which I think is a good option. He knows that the opposing side will not have time to go for that for the res. Potentially. He's going to be actually trying to buy some time with some smoke, and now Crop GG, he knows that smoke means he's going to go for the raid. He's going to go potentially for grenade or for the pushes. He has no utility, which he does not have any grenades actually in Imperium. He's going to go commit to it. He knows that smoke is going to be his chance to get closer and closer. Nice, close and personal. Some random spray. You can't spot them out just yet. Random spray, random bloom inside those smokes, but the information is not going to be given over. And he's really just struggling to find out. Now you know that you're giving too much time over to the opposing side, so he's just going to slowly retreat back to the compound, and the circle is once again moving away from his position.
Had to be careful he didn't get backstabbed, and you talked about moving away from his position, but that's great for the side of Florizona because they're going to move in on the south side of his crop, just take a few shots onto Mellow Panda. All the while, St. Ambrose now continue to look to control the area in the circle as Concordia still up as a 2-man team. Going to try and fight their way into the edge of circle from the northeastern side.
Yeah. Down south, going to be Florizona State. Looking for a few sneaky angles with that DMR with those bolt action snipers. But unfortunately for them, I think that is not really the best course of action. I think their course of action should be focused on making it uphill. And going uphill dead center of the map might not be the best option. But unfortunately, you have no other options in the matter because you've got a team on the east, you've got a team on the west. So you just got to funnel up in the central position of the circle. And just really pray that you don't get too heavily shut down by teams around you. Concordia going to be back into the feed once again. It's going to be more on sneak attack, as we're going to be seeing ourselves Central Florida get eliminated in 6 and 10 kills once again over to Concordia. This team is looking unstoppable despite being a 2-man army. They are still so good.
Fear the Fork gets knocked down. Mellow Panda is on his own. Great push coming out from British Columbia. They know they want to control the southwestern side of the circle. Grenade is going to get popped out. Is that going to connect onto Mellow Panda? Not quite, misses the beat just a bit as a Mellow Panda is prone down in the grass.
Yep. Fear the Fork was taken out. Especially like up north, you just have this great positioning out on by the side. Oh my god, the shot's coming out from Crop. That scared me a little bit there. I thought he was able to find it, but no, it's not going to be the case. But now Concordia Imperium. You know what you think about this one? We're going for this 1-1 split at the very last second to enter into the eastern edge. Like, is that just overconfidence, or like, how do you think about that one?
Honestly, I know we've barely seen anything other than the 3 games of Concordia, which they pulled out some massive performances. But I think it's safe to say that it's Concordia doing Concordia things. That's it. Maybe I'm being a bit presumptuous, but
after
again,
3 games, we already say that.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's
because
respected,
the
yeah.
team, two chicken dinners in the 3rd place. Come on, like. How can I really question what they're doing in the final moments of this 4th game? It proved to me that they know how to handle these games.
There you go. We'll say it then. Concordia doing Concordia things. Columbia's player. Oh, Shabs will not be able to find it. Cruzy trying his best to make it happen, and he won't be able to make it happen. Finds Florizona State. They are down now to top 4 teams. As once again, fighting in his top 4, none other than Rochester and Concordia Imperium. Talk about consistency in the circle. Slowly starting to move away, but I like it. Concordia, this is what I wanted to see, coming back as a two-man team. They got Mons and Sneak Attack. He's going to be pushing out one on the own, but they find himself that initial knockdown, also making himself easier. They want to use that chance of that knockdown to push their way in. He's literally going to be crashing into this compound, exploding the walls, exploding those barricades. As you see, it's all coming out. Sneak Attack. They're taking 2 fights, like 1 fight each, Imperium. They're not fighting together, which I think would give them a huge edge on those fights. Sneak Attack.
Oh my
that door,
god.
gonna try and maybe find a few nice shots, but Sneak Attack, no fear, just fight. Going for the solo compound breach.
You talked about joining up. That's exactly what's going to be happening. And that's going to be 5 kills for Sneak Attack. 5 kills as now Morons is looking to make his way up the stairs. Going to look to try and find the last remaining players of St. Ambrose. St. Ambrose have been inside this compound for so long. Maybe they just presumed they got caught napping, so to speak. They should have been a bit more proactive inside that compound area, but they allowed the 2-man team of Concordia to make their way up and get that attack.
You know what I said at the very start of the stream, right? This, despite maybe some teams not being really too well known for the public, this might still be the chance for these teams to make it and get their name on the map and get maybe the recognition they all deserve and make it to maybe a better stage of PUBG esports as a whole. Mons 5 kills going his way. We did see the side of Rochester get eliminated in this game in a 4th. Now it's going to be another top 3 over to Concordia. That is 4 top 3s over 4 games. How mental is the kickoff of this tournament for Concordia? I was not expecting it. Sneak Attack finds it and lives up to his name. Find himself decent playing. And now they have full control of this compound. That's going to be another top 2 going their way. What an insane bunch of player for Concordia. British Columbia is going to be down to 2 crews. And few 2v2 fight currently happening in their vicinity, but they are center circle British Columbia, forcing Concordia in their vicinity as they're already starting to try and think of how they're going to be leaving that compound. Do they have the smokes to do so, though? That's my question. Crazy spots it out, but it's not going to go for the spray just yet. Lost that opportunity, going to go for the secondary spray. We'll be able to find it eventually. That's going to be it for Sneak Attack. Down to a 1-man team. Will not be able to find it, but still, Concordia takes second. And British Columbia, after such a great Game 3, by the way, on Miramar, they're going to be rewarded over on Game 4.
Man, really well played by British Columbia on the western side of the map in the last kind of 2 or 3 circles. They didn't have to do too much, but they rotated really nicely along the way, and they did get those aggressive pushes onto the likes of Florizona when they needed to. Again, just take control and stay controlling on that western side. But, man, with all due respect to British Columbia, we have to talk about Concordia, right? We have to. How much more are they going to do? This is only week 1, and we've seen 4 insane games from them. 2 chicken dinners, a 3rd place and a 2nd place. Wolves Esports, sign these boys up. I'll tell you what. I'm going to put my money where my mouth is, Max. I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. If Concordia don't win the CBA, if they do win the CBA, I will give €100 to the Play for Pink if they win. I'm putting my money where my mouth is.
Okay.
I'm putting my money where my mouth is. Concordia have impressed me so much. Sneak Attack, just the level of aggression and proactive play. Yes, did they punish more passive teams? Yeah, of course, but that's part of the game, right? If you're able to recognize a team's passive play and expose that, all the power to you.
I do definitely respect that, and I think it's a good idea for you bringing up the Imperium, but like, it's just they've been playing like really good positions. I think sometimes their rotations on, like, if I can find maybe something negative, is like they late from time to time, but they make up for that with hyper-realistic, aggressive plays, and I think that just keeps on rewarding them with just really good fight opportunities. They pick up a bunch of kills along the way, and at the end, they end up in, like, 2nd position with so many frags to show for it. So overall, they has now deserved my respect. We're going to have a few replays coming on through. That's when Concordia started popping off into the kill feed, and they already had 3 kills in just the first 5 minutes of the game, Imperium, which is absolutely mental coming out from this team. But also Delta of Midwest, like this game, like the long-distance shots, were just so consistent on his end.
He also, got the most damage, 1,800 879 damage from Delta. Incredibly good coming out from them, and you know, even as we will be able to kind of show the overall standings after those four games, you know, it's such a great, just such a great set of games, and that Erangel game kind of ending once again on, I would say, some awkward hillside to the north of the river. It did test a lot of these teams, and if you're not super familiar with the Erangel game, with the Erangel map, and you know, kind of every inch of the terrain, navigating around it is very tricky, like very, very tricky.
I do have to agree on that one, but there you go. Now we're getting to the War's late stage game where really it was just Concordia pushing anything that was moving in this lobby. They saw Tennessee, went for the push onto the gas station, found the kills, did so almost the entire game. And the team that is able to not only go aggressive, but remain aggressive the entire game, despite them being a two-man team, is really surprising to me. At the end of the day, he also had that play from Bloody Motions, went for like a fishing simulator. Unfortunately, not able to find himself that one player, Ginger Jesus, but at the end, he did get it after that shot when he came out of the water. But still surprising that those bullets did not connect. That was a little bit weird to me, but you know what? That's okay. Still, he got rewarded with the frags, and that was the end of Ginger Jesus, that got eliminated with his team early on.
Man, but then just like looking at those highlights, you saw Southeastern doing what they could, but they got overwhelmed by Rochester, and that's another team, right? That, you know, Rochester impressing me as well. Like Rochester, North Carolina, and Concordia, three teams that I really have my eyes on coming into the next couple of weeks of gameplay.
Yeah. I think it has to be also British Columbia. Like, you know, I mentioned it onto this game number 3 on Miramar. They had a great southern position, uncontested. They had the high ground position. And even though the circle was hard shifting away from them in the northern ground, like a few times in a row, I think that they really showed that here they have the potential to take chicken dinners when the cards and when the situation goes right in their favor. They used the cards perfectly, and they did reward them with a fourth and final game that did end up in a chicken dinner. So overall, British Columbia also a team that I think maybe not as consistent as we saw from, like, you know, Concordia and maybe a few other teams in this lobby, but I think overall they do deserve and are deserving of respect into this game.
Definitely.
So it's going to be really good for them, as the CGS I am now said is updated, so we should be potentially able to see the overall standings, Imperium.
Yep. Definitely Concordia, as expected, on top of the standings with 57 points in total, 26 of those being kills. So that's a really solid balance, right? That's a really solid, you know, kind of 26 kills, 57 points. So 31 of those being placement points, which is really good. Of course, off the back of 2 chicken dinners, that was going to be 20 points instantly. And then Rochester, second place with 44 points, and North Carolina in third with 43. What did I say, Max, during the highlights? 3 teams I'm looking out for. They're the top 3, baby.
I think that was not very hard to spot out, to be honest, because they were just actually doing so good. But you know what? I'll give you that one, Imperium. But yeah, like British Columbia also, like the team that I thought was doing pretty good. No, not maybe as consistent. Game 1, Game 2, not really their outstanding performances. Game 3 and 4 is when they really started shining up. So I think that if they can try and, you know, perform on those bases, maybe not always chicken dinner worthy, but at least stay consistent in terms of frag power over the next few Mondays of action, I think they can definitely try and climb into that top 3 position and also remain there for the entirety of this tournament. So overall, British Columbia, really happy with them. But also, like, Midwest, like, sure, not the team to, like, get those really insane big results, right? But they were just, from game to game, they were a team that were consistently hitting their point averages, and it gave them a 5th position.
37 points, and 30 of those are kills. 37 points, Aggressive. And 30 of those are kills. You know. And that's kind of okay. It's not ideal, because you do want to have that, as I said, that balance between placement points and kill points. But if you aren't able to get those placement results, at least grabbing those high kill points, it's going to make a huge difference. But what I really like is that Concordia has a 13-point advantage over second place. That's over a chicken dinner. So they're over a chicken dinner in the lead. And what's even more important is that that's the same amount of point difference as it is between second and 6th. So as the teams in like, you know, 2nd, 3rd, 5th, 6th, 7th are kind of, I'm not going to say tripping over each other, but fighting to kind of get ahead of each other. Concordia can kind of go into next week way more confidence that they have that solid cushion over second place alone.
I have to agree on that one, Imperium. But with that said, once again, our top 3 for today going to have Concordia in top 1 position after today, with just stellar consistency and performances all around the board on both Miramar and Erangel, with 57 points to show for it. Second position will be Rochester Institute of Technology in second position with 44 points. Then there's going to be North Carolina State University in 43rd. And that is going to be your top 3 for today after day 1 of the Collegiate Battlegrounds Association tournament. It has been a really fun and wild ride. Those circles, wild the entire time. Game 4 was a little bit more normal, so at least we didn't end on like a sweet note at the end of the day. It was won by British Columbia, so GG well played to them. But with that said, really, we're done with the broadcast for today. So what I propose is that we do wrap this thing up. I don't know if you have anything to add, Imperium, before we do close off the stream. It's not in his heads. I think we're going to be A-okay. My name was Max Manchon with Imperium. Next Monday, same time, same place. Maybe not the same casters. We do not know. We'll keep you guys updated on social medias as always. And have a great rest of your day.